Hey everybody, welcome to Squash Talk. I'm Pat. Thanks for tuning in tonight. What's going on? Friday night free for all, and for now it's just me. It might be a minute before the anybody from the panel can show up. We'll see. I had some last minute stuff I was trying to put together, and got behind as usual, and here I am late for my own show. Not cool. So if you guys will bear with me for just a minute, I want to check something out. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, Ore, you might could jump in tonight if you want. I was kind of had something a little back and forth with some skeptics earlier on a Facebook page of skeptics. They were talking about UFOs, and let me see if I can pull it up. Sorry, you guys know I'm bad at multitasking. Yeah, that's okay. So let's see. Okay. Oh, somebody agreed with me. So I don't know. I thought this was interesting and somewhat like Sasquatch related. Hold on. Chrome tab. Here. All right. So somebody posted this. And, it seems that a lot of people believe in the alien origin for UFOs, not because of evidence, but because it's popular. And I know what they're saying, but it's like, to me, it's like, well, there's a reason for that. It's more complicated than what you're trying to say there, even though I know what you're saying. So my reply was, UFOs are a real phenomena with no explanation. So imagination fills the void of lack of knowledge. But doesn't mean it's wrong. There is an explanation. We just aren't aware of it yet. And so that kind of relates to Bigfoot. And then somebody jumped in and said I was correct, actually. But somebody thought it was hilarious. A couple of people thought that was funny. I'm like, well, what? Well put. Okay, so I didn't see those replies. But I think it's true. I think that applies to Sasquatch as well. And I'm going to bring Patrick in a second. Hopefully it will work out. So I've been having a problem. Let's get rid of that. Stop screen. Been having a problem that every time I bring somebody in, I end up having to leave. So Patrick, get ready to host the show for a few minutes at least. What? Oh wow, it worked. Can you hear me?
I hear you well.
Okay, I hear you well. Your audio sounds great. So I don't want to see any comments under this video saying, we can't hear Patrick's audio. Can you tell him to turn it up?
Well, yeah, I played around with my audio settings on my computer finally. But so what's up, everybody in chat? Hello, Miss Brandy. So what's going on, Pat?
Not much. I was planning to bring you into the show. I made something for you. And Kim is jealous.
Uh-oh.
Hey, wrap your head around that for a second.
Yeah, I mean. Hello, Kim. How are you doing?
She is in the homestead tonight. Putting up with Squatch Talk. Yeah, let's see if I can share it real quick. Hold on. Share screen. It's just the audio. Like, I tried to turn it into a movie.
Oh God. Oh God, I think I know what it is.
But it's the I don't think the audio will be like come through like it should.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we'll see. Um, yeah, if you can mute your mic, that'd be great. Thanks. All right, so let's try this, guys. Here we go. In a world full of Sasquatch, there's only one man who can save them all. His name, Patrick Vaughn. Whoop. Up. Hold on, you're still muted, bud.
I'm so glad that wasn't a Weema way.
Oh yeah, right.
Oh man, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's
So
a work in progress.
what did you have up on the screen earlier? What was that? A discussion going on?
Oh yeah, from a stuff about UFOs in a skeptic group on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
I could bring it back up here. Bring
Oh, and
that up.
periodically through the show, I think we should ask, where's Shawn at?
Yes, where is Shawn? And yes, so people are probably already wondering about that. But this is what I was talking about right before you came in. This in scientific skepticism group, somebody says it seems to me that a lot of people believe in the alien origin for UFOs not because of evidence, but because it's popular. And I just went on to say basically that, UFOs, we don't have evidence, there's no explanations, therefore people's imagination fills the void,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean they're wrong. They might be, they might not be, but basically we don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, humans are creative beings, and what they don't know, the mind will try to fill in. And, I got two people right now that swear up and down I got Sasquatch tapping into my mind and I'm speaking to them.
Yeah,
Do they have that kind of talent? Maybe. I don't know. There's no proof of it. I can't say it don't, but it's definitely creative.
sure.
Mr. Brent, the
What's
one and
going
only.
on? Woo! Go. Free for all. I guess it's any topic, anything goes, right?
Yeah. My
Ooh,
comments
good
froze
info.
up. That's not good. I would say with anybody, like, dude, if thousands and thousands of people were having Sasquatch in their head, like they were seeing them with their own eyes, that'd be one thing. But just any kind of like handful of people that claim that, schizophrenia is in play or something
Well,
else, maybe.
I saw a UFO. And if you break down UFO, it is only an unidentified flying object.
Correct.
Okay, it
That's
does not mean it's alien.
unidentified being key, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you can have a bug that you don't know what it is. It's just something flapping through the air and it's an unidentified flying object. Now, I'm not saying UFOs don't exist or do, but I've saw one. I was hunting one morning and had someone with me. And we got there way early. I fell asleep, I dozed off, and I woke up, and it's like the tops of the clouds were on fire. Just golden fire. I mean, for miles around me, the tops of the clouds were on fire. And I'm like, what in the world?
Mm.
It's pre-dawn. And then this big glowing orange ball of light comes just slowly cruising, probably 3 or 4 miles out, a couple thousand feet above the trees, just cruising along. And it was so bright, it was reflecting on the tops of the clouds, making the tops of clouds orange. And
Mm.
that was, man, I might have been 18 when that happened. Well, then, 4 years ago, I'm talking to an aerospace engineer friend of mine. He goes, "Was that this year?" We got boiled it down about what the year was. He goes, "Yeah, a friend of mine was designing a hydrogen drive engine, an experimental engine, and it was being test flighted about that time, and so it could have been, and hydrogen burns orange, so it could have been a prototype hydrogen engine that I saw,
Mm.
possibly.
Wow. That sounds like
So,
something he should not have been talking about.
well, yeah,
We
let's
might not should talk about here. We need
yeah,
Steve. We need Steve here for that one.
this guy worked for Skunk Works way back when, and I
Yeah.
understand that from what I understand, the engine was scrapped. They didn't really care for the characteristics or performances of it.
Yeah. I don't like
So
that. I don't like that engine either. I would go with more of a hyperdrive.
yeah,
That'd
a
be my
flux.
angle.
I
What
want a flux
capacitor?
capacitor.
Yes, I have one actually. It charges my phone. Plugs right into my car.
All right.
Yes.
Or hey, you can come on. I think we communicate through email. So yeah, sure, you can come on in half an hour if you want. Whenever you want.
So what was the topic beforehand? Was it Bigfoot and UFOs connected? Is
You
I
got
know.
an
I
echo.
didn't know how to start the show, so I just
that me? That echo?
yeah
That's bad.
Oh,
yeah yeah. Your audio kind of sucks.
yeah. Hold on.
By the way, Bluetooth speakers are good.
What?
Yes.
Testing. Mute your mic, Colin.
Mm.
How about now? Can you hear me? Can you
Hello.
hear me? Hold on.
That's good. You're good.
What's Lockbeard talking about? I don't know. He just randomly said this in chat. This picture won't conclusively anything last hour. I don't know.
I know he was just in with
How about now?
Yep,
another
good to go.
another platform. I'm not sure if he was discussing. I didn't see any pictures
Okay.
on it.
Like another channel or something.
Yeah, yeah. We had
Well,
Cool.
hey, yeah, you know why I know Lockbeard is right? Because it's not on the freaking news right now. Like conclusive stuff will be at least compelling to some, if that's a fair statement. So I don't know. You
Yeah,
know.
I don't know what UFO people would want to have to do with us right now. We're still kind of primitive, medieval sort of philosophy in a way. Like, man, if I was them, I'd stay clear away. I can see why they would probably send like drone and doc type people, to come and investigate us and check us out from a distance. But you almost want to start a YouTube channel, like just talking directly to the UFO people or the alien people or whatever, who's ever out there, and just like talk directly to them, like bypass the whole government thing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the thing with UFOs is I recognized a long time ago that there was something to that. Sort of like it's very similar to the Sasquatch world. What got me into the Bigfoot world isn't because I ran into one. It's because I was like, what's up with all these people that say they're seeing, these 8 foot tall monkey men in the world in the woods? I'm like, there's got to be something to that.
mm-hmm.
And the UFO thing's the same. Even going back to when I was a kid, that was my logic. It's like there's got to be something to it,
Well,
and turns out there is
Oh
in
yeah,
both
yeah.
cases.
well,
So
mathematically, there should be, not could be, but should be at least 5 planets in our, universe that could hold life.
more
And
than that in the universe, dude.
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
man.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I was just
but
watching Picard last night. Paramount Plus. You guys watch Star Trek? On how the hyperdrive that they use, the wormhole technology, and all that. I mean, it does make you wonder, what kind of technology is out there, and how they're influencing us, or if they are at all, if they're just observing, if they are, connected to the Bigfoot phenomenon, like Tijuana Lapteritis claims that they are.
Well, I'm totally all for living. There's an echo. Is it me?
It's only in your ear.
I hear you. Echo.
I hear a little bit of echo from me coming out of your stuff, but
you got mic on?
Audio.
Pat, you got mic on?
Testing.
Hey, that's a lot better.
Okay.
Check 1, check 2.
Yeah, that mic makes you sound like Darth Vader. That little promo you put on there is awesome.
Thanks.
But,
I'm gonna work on it. I'm gonna refine it, and I'm gonna capture some video of like you, maybe like you doing the Wing Away thing, whatever.
Oh Lord. But I'm all for living like the Jetsons because I totally want to push a button and have a steak materialize right in front of me. I could totally live like that.
I think the Jetsons took place in 2062, so George Jetson, I think, is walking among us or being born right now.
Right, we're not there yet, right?
We're almost there. So,
well, I'll be dead by then.
Hey, you never know. You'll probably you could have like a mind transplant or something like that. Get a robot body or something like that. That'd be awesome. I'd be down.
I don't want a robot body.
It'd be cool. It'd be cool. It'd be cool if you could look human. Come on, man, that would be cool. Just be a big body. That would be awesome.
I would miss too much of my physicalities and relationships with other people.
Well, other people have robot bodies too, and I'm sure they'll make that compatible of sorts.
I mean, isn't that already happening? I mean,
I think so. I think you can buy stuff like that. Maybe, I don't know. I'm sure you can.
Well,
there's a will, there's a way.
What I mean by that is, would you prefer to be a human being 20,000, 30,000 years ago? They're as human as you and I are.
I'd totally do that.
But they live to the ripe age of 30.
Yeah, man. Maybe would be a real bummer back then, a toothache, having like a wisdom tooth or something.
Well, that's how they all died, was tooth
pretty much. Yeah.
Well, life was so hard, they literally just worked themselves to death or by accident get an infection, get hurt, get killed hunting.
They weren't fat, though. I can tell you that.
But the average lifespan...
There were no fat people 30,000 years ago.
The average lifespan was like 38 years. If you lived to 38, you were an old man.
Mm-hmm.
So would that translate to the Bigfoot population too? And do they have a shorter lifespan than we do because of the elements that they're exposed to? But I also sent you guys that video of that old lady who lives out in the woods in Russia for pretty much her whole life, and her teeth are worn down, but she's still chugging along at 78 years old.
Yeah, and that's an amazing story. I beg everyone to look at every documentary that's ever been made about that. That it's crazy. I remember at one point, she described back in the day, her and her family would literally surround the crops. They had 1 or 2 seeds left to grow whatever they were trying to grow, and they would literally have to at night surround that area and shoo the mice away because they didn't want it to get, obviously they didn't want their last little bit of food to get that could grow to get, eaten by the mice and just stuff like that, dude. They didn't know World War II happened. They were disconnected from World War II, and they were one of maybe 100 people in the world that were completely disconnected from World War II. Pretty amazing stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting too because she's able to withstand Lyme disease and other elements too that we would suffer from, but she's able to build up an immunity over time with it, so it doesn't affect her health wise. So I mean,
That
that's
is
pretty
interesting.
incredible upon itself, you know. So translate that to the Bigfoot population goes to show you what's possible that they could be doing out there.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, used to you could pay your taxes in squirrel scalps here in America's early 1800s because of the rampant squirrel population decimating the corn industry.
Well, we had a big
squirrels eating corn stalks.
Yep.
We had a big black bear hunt here in Washington State many decades ago because they kept scratching the trees, which would kill the trees, and the trees like fund education and all these different programs and stuff that were made through the taxes. So they pretty much wiped out a lot of the black bear population just to save the trees.
Mm-hmm.
It worked.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like, okay, I'm a little scatterbrained now, but like, I'm like, which direction do I want to take the show in?
Where are we going?
I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think about some of the? Let's talk about UFOs for a minute in some of the disclosure.
All right. Where's Shawn at?
Thank you, Shawn. Where are you? I don't see him in chat.
I think I saw him at Target just like an hour ago. So there was a Shawn sighting. So I don't know.
Oh, well, did someone get a blurry picture of him?
Yeah. It was. You know, it's one of those things. It's where's Shawn at? Like, where's Waldo?
I could pull up pictures of Shawn right now.
I want a T-shirt. Where's Shawn?
Yeah.
I want a T-shirt. Where's Shawn?
Next time I'm on here, I might do that. Have a where's Shawn shirt at? Big question mark. Got to get him on, man. Got to get him on. He sounds like a really cool, interesting dude. That even though he's not so much into the Bigfoot phenomenon like we are, his perspective of it is still enlightening and could be educational for us through the questions that he asks, and just his perspective on it in general. So. Even though he doesn't know, I still encourage him to come on and chat about it. It's when time is available for him.
Yeah, and that's why I want to bring him on. I mean, not just because he's my buddy, and there's a personal aspect to it. Obviously, you guys see that when we're all chatting, off air.
Nice, like really cool dude. That
he is.
Add good content to the discussion. I look forward to when he's on in the future.
Yeah, we'll get him on, but hopefully he'll see this. Yep.
So who is disclosing the UFO files?
Well, so basically, I mean, where we're at right now is a much more serious take on some UFO footage that was captured by the gimbals on fighter jets. I believe they were Hornets. They were F-18s in two different parts of operational areas, and the Department of Defense has admitted that they don't know what it is. They've admitted that. And so here you have video footage with testimonial from the pilots, So this is like unprecedented in the whole entire history of the UFO, phenomena throughout the modern world, I'll say, going back to World War II and the Foo Fighters, right? Not the cool rock band, but what they named that from, which was pilots seeing shit they couldn't explain back then. And so here we are. The Department of Defense has admitted that they can't explain what they're seeing there, and they've ruled out other nations' technology. So that's a huge question mark for the United States government, Department of Defense, to admit to.
Okay, so during an extremely politically charged atmosphere in this nation, we're going to throw something out there that's extremely distracting, and then we're going to call it, legitimate and not a coincidence.
Well, the footage is not from this current political era.
Yeah, and this is kind of a movement that's been going on for quite a while, and some of the footage that they released, like that pyramid one, I don't believe that that's a UFO. I think that that's a reflection off the camera itself. But some of the other ones, now, Captain Fravor never. He actually never recorded that UFO video. That was done by somebody else. He was just him and this other lady who actually they just did a 60 minutes Australian interview, which I highly recommend, about a month or so ago, talking about this. This is actually the first time she's ever talked about it on video and stuff, and she collaborates what he saw and what he was talking about. And they're the eyewitnesses, saw it coming from up underneath the water, take off, do these different things, but they weren't the ones that videotaped it. And I guess the Nimitz was involved, and but it's an interesting time to be alive. I mean, the government. I mean, I don't think that they really are hiding. Well, I mean, they could be, but
Right.
Who knows
From someone who knows a little bit about secrecy in the Air Force. We had things in the late 40s, early 50s that was not declassified until the late 80s or 90s. And people would catch glimpses of it and
Sure.
Oh, I saw something that looked like this.
Sure.
So how do we know that? And of course, their tech, but from that, if you extrapolate it forward, we could have 40 or 50 years further advanced technology than we know about right now. Jet engines could be obsolete, and we don't know.
I think Lockbeard agrees with you. Yes, they admitted they don't know what they are, but this is the government. They lie, and they do, which probably means they know exactly what they are.
Well, I don't think to the point where they had like any sort of contact with them, or I'm not a big believer of Roswell either. Some of these UFO events that are prevalent in that community there. But I mean, interesting time to be alive. See what all comes out. I mean, yeah, the government does lie, but I don't think that they really know what's going on with this. I mean, it's technology out of their hands. They can't really keep everybody silent this long. And
I think,
yeah, that's the problem.
And there's people in the government that want to know this stuff too. They're just like you and I.
And when it comes to the Robert Walker brings up the F-117, and when it comes to that, like I remember that from those days. I remember seeing the artist, drawing, rendering of the F-117 before I actually laid eyes on an actual F-117. So somebody saw one, they remember what it looked like and did an artist drawing, and it turned out to be pretty spot on. It's not about, it's how they move. These things are going, they're breaking the laws of physics, the way they
bumblebees. They're like bumblebees with their movement. It's just like, it's so erratic and so neck breaking that it's like, wow, how do they do that? But
if there's a person inside of it, they're dead.
Yeah. Well, I think that I don't think that there's people in there. I think that they're just on-man drones. If there is some sort of person in there, it could be like a sock puppet. That's why the green alien are just like, they have no sexual organs or anything like that. They just got this benign, this look to them, and because I think, if possible, that they could just project a consciousness or avatar, have that be an avatar of sorts, how we do with like a video game. Same thing, so they don't have to directly interact with us, deal with our germs and that type of thing. So I don't think that there's real space aliens inside of there, because probably too dangerous for them right now.
No, yeah, I wasn't even saying that. I was still going along the government lines. Like maybe they do have some kind of autonomous, or maybe not autonomous, but remote, something that they can, use remotely that moves in ways that we can't understand. But it's definitely not the same as the F-117. But then again, man, the F-117 was actually, that development started in the 70s, and that's still to this day an amazing piece of technology.
Have you guys heard about the Phoenix Lights down in was Arizona, like 1990?
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah, I've seen, like, that's always been a thing. I thought they were flares. They look like flares to me.
There's a really good video. I'll send you a link later. That kind of breaks down the Phoenix Lights of how it's most likely not flares. How the military did flare demonstration to show that it wasn't this, but I guess there's tens of thousands of eyewitness reports across the state seeing this particular.
No, that did happen. So within the whole package of the Phoenix Lights, yes. But I'm only talking about that one specific video where the guy captures it out in the distance.
Oh yeah.
And there was a comparison done of daytime and then that video, but then also from the same spot at day, and every single light disappeared over the mountaintop, like straight down. And that's just something slowly dropping from the air. That's a flare. That's all that is.
Well, it's an alien set the flare off.
There you go, man.
They're going low tech. They're using low tech against us.
So here's something actually I can't figure out about the UFO sightings is, so if they want to be so nonchalant and discreet, why do they have ships that have lights on them? Like, that's so obvious. The blinking ones or whatever. It's like, I don't get that. Why can't they just go dark? We could go dark. Why can't they go dark? But no, they have to like have this fucking illumination. So right. It's like everybody sees it, and like, I don't know, maybe that's the soft disclosure.
Well, I truly believe that there are UFOs. There are unidentified flying objects, because there was one report of an entire suburb seeing one and a cop chasing it down in his car. Okay, years ago. So it was an unidentified flying object. Question is, what's its origin? That's the real question, is the origin of it. Okay.
Yeah.
We have to quit assuming. We have to quit assuming something. Okay, and focus on its origin.
I agree. But it's hard, man. It's hard to investigate shit that's up in the air, moving real fast. Yeah. Not like that footage, that DOD footage, man. It's like, those were F-18 Hornets, dude. Like, some of the most advanced, Mach 2 capability fucking planes in human existence. And they couldn't fucking deal with that thing.
Well, for me, anything advanced enough to have that kind of advanced technology from another solar system or whatever, I don't see them flying into our atmosphere and say, hey, turn the lights on, Fred, so no planes bump into us. Okay. I don't see them doing that. I really don't even know if they have lights on it. Lights really is it's an us thing, I think.
Yeah. We have them on planes to alert other planes that they're there. It's a safety thing. So it's like, here they are just illuminated for the world to see. And it's like, wow, that's weird if you want to like be discreet. So I don't know.
Steve has a good theory.
Yeah. Bigfoot's really good at owl calls and coyote calls too. They're like spot on.
Well, good. I've had them come up and mimic them, and then slap their chest at me. I had one. He wasn't actually doing a coyote mimic. It was just a canine mimic that even the landowners called it a coy wolf. I said, we got a coy wolf up here. So when I'm tracking that night, I got a coy wolf going up on top of this hill, and it comes and walks down into the field, and we're watching this thing walk, okay, on two legs. So that's how I know they do mimics. It's
But,
not
you know,
my.
It's hard to distinguish what's Bigfoot and what's the actual real animal doing it. Because I have a video that everybody tells me, oh, that's not an owl, that's a Bigfoot. I'm like, oh no, it's probably an owl. You know, it was midday, but I mean, I don't understand how people like that could say, oh, that's a Bigfoot when it sounds like an owl. So it's hard. I have a hard time distinguishing the difference between a Bigfoot and an owl, or a Bigfoot imitating an owl and an actual owl itself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I was at a camp and had one come up, and it sounded just like a little terrier dog going, but we're way back here, you know, camped out, and I'm like, there's no way a terrier is going to live out there, you know. I mean, that's way back there. It sounded like a little Pomeranian, and then it goes, woo, woo, and then it just uses normal voice, and it goes, its normal voice says, woo. It's 40 yards outside of camp. And I go out there and track it. Okay. So I know it was there, you know. So, yeah, it was mimicking. And I know people.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, what do you guys think of that video I sent you guys with the Randy Bryson and the Bigfoot talking in it? Interesting, eh?
What?
Hey, do you not watch the videos I send you guys, man, in our group chat?
I've been working.
Bro. No,
I watched some of them.
No, it's a dude who recorded, it sounds like a Bigfoot talking. You know, it's obviously not proof, but.
Oh, yeah, I listen to that. I give it a low probability.
Yeah. Bluetooth speaker out there, something like that.
I'm not sure how he did it, but it sounded human. You would literally have to take that and put it on waveform and compare it to some vocals I have and have them match up for me to believe that.
Do you got vocals?
Yeah, I got vocals. I got one screaming out there. It's, if you want to go watch Mark Newell's channel, I was on there. You can go watch. It's in waveform. You can see the Beast TV, I think it is.
Yeah, dude. Okay, so, that's funny. Like, yeah, Beast TV, Mark and Larry.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll check. Yeah.
Who, by the way, I talked to Mark, and he agreed to come on Tuesday.
Right.
Yeah, and hopefully, Larry. He told me in conversation. He says, "I can't speak for Larry. I'll let you know." But I was trying to get both of them on. Yeah.
Well, a couple of good guys to talk to right there.
Absolutely, man. Those guys are cool guys. I've talked to them before.
Yeah.
Like the first time I ever met them on air was probably back in December, on the BO channel when I filled in for, several shows.
Body odor channel?
Before the divorce.
Yeah. The, Bigfoot Odyssey channel.
Oh, Bigfoot Odyssey.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
gosh.
And
I think I've heard of that channel before.
I was going with yours, body odor. That's cool.
Yeah.
That was the first time I met them. So like I didn't know who they were, and they came on that night. I was co-hosting, and they were great guys, man. They're funny, they had good personality. I could tell they bounce off each other really well. Like that was my first impression of them. But they really won me over. I don't know, it was like a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago. They put out a video debunking their own footage, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like,
I remember that.
Like stratosphere made my head explode.
No, that was awesome.
Well, I've captured a lot of audio, but part of it was, with another platform, and so I don't feel right about putting stuff out that was captured as a team. But the the audio I caught with my tracking partner, Mark actually compared it to other animals, tried to debunk it, and put it. You could see in the spectrograph. He says, "I can't explain this." He can't say it's a Bigfoot. He just say what it ain't.
Yeah, you just can't explain it.
But I went out there, tracked it. I knew it was there. I mean, I don't go home. I don't go home and scratch my head wondering what it is. I click the light on and go find out.
That's the way to do it, man. I mean, that's how you know. I mean, there's nothing that it would drive me crazy, just like not having the opportunity to go find out what's out there. You hear something, you got to go find out what it is. You can't just assume it. I think that could be Bigfoot.
It's anxious. There's some anxiety there. Okay, if you're pitch black and you're walking towards a target, you got someone behind you that you're walking away from, and they got a thermal. They're like, okay, go straight, go left, go right, go straight, and you're literally walking into blindness to a heat signature that's out there, and your heart's going. Dun, 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 dun. It builds anxiety, But
I don't know. I mean, is this the phenomenon that's happening to you, Patrick or Brent?
I tracked the area. I know the area. There was no one out there with PVC.
Yeah, I mean, I go to remote areas where it's not very likely at all.
Yeah.
I could see that around popular hiking trails, people planting evidence that looks like Bigfoot prints or maybe doing Bigfoot howls off trail or something. I think that's more common than people realize. But I try to go to areas where human contamination, that's what I call it, human contamination, is eliminated as much as possible. So I try to go deep and remote as much as I go, just to get away from people.
Well, it sounds like an activity that Raptor actually might be part of. I don't know. But
a juicy accusation. I like it.
No,
okay, I'm gonna bring
implication.
I'm gonna bring Jorge on. He's a cool guy. He's skeptic. He could be part of the panel tonight.
All right. I got to bounce out soon too.
Yeah. Cool.
Oh man.
Hello.
Sorry. Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
Oh, it's going.
That's cool. A good Friday night. This is how we roll on a Friday night.
Yeah. I got my beer, so I'm ready.
Nice. What are you drinking tonight?
Local brew.
Oh, nice. Sometimes those are the best,
Oh yeah, we got good breweries up around me, so it's a nice American pale ale.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering what region of the world you're in, actually, because
I'm in the Midwest.
Okay.
So I think I'm kind of by you guys, actually.
I'm Washington State.
Yeah.
Okay, opposite of you then.
Yeah, I'm in Georgia.
So I thought you guys were like in Indiana or something.
Yeah, he's northwest of me, way northwest.
Hey, yeah. So yeah, I'm in the Midwest. Yeah, I think I remember hearing stories of Sasquatches and stuff up by me, but nothing ever verified. I wouldn't say we're a big hub of your creatures around here. So
apparently, I live in the Mecca of Bigfoot, capital of the world. Still have yet to see one, but that's what they tell me. I'm going to verify that claim.
Well, there's so many people, and I even get messaged by some people that are out. Man, I just got hollered at from over there. Well, why are you still over here? Why aren't you over there? Okay, you want an encounter? Walk out there.
Exactly.
Now I know it. You gotta compartmentalize and take that fear and put it in a box and lock it away and just do the task.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's what we're out there to do. We're out there to go engage and learn and collect, not just be like, oh, I think that's Bigfoot. Let's get the hell out of here, which you see a lot of.
Yeah, I mean, is Patrick on chat? I'm watching it, but I
Wait.
can't type on it.
Mm.
But
You could respond to it, but yeah.
what you need, Robert? But yeah, and I wanted a different approach on investigation. I didn't want to run out there with cameras and night vision and catch nothing. You know, I went out with tech and I couldn't do anything with it. So I went in with just a knife, and it's kind of like, you know, 2 + 2 is 4, but then you turn around, you start at the end of the sentence, and you reverse the math, and you start working it that way. That's the way I approach Bigfoot, you know, and work the equation from the inside out to see and plot out why are we not getting what we need from this end, you know. And it comes down to they have better eyesight, they have better sense of smell, they're faster, they're better in the woods than you. Okay. You cannot put on camouflage and go sit by a tree and not get picked out. They're going to find you. You know, I got picked out totally camouflaged up 20 foot in the tree. Picked out, busted.
It also makes you wonder that if the act of actually trying to hide them, trying to deceive them, will actually keep them further away from them, because, you know, they feel you're being deceitful towards them, which is hard to trust somebody like that. So kind of makes you wonder if that approach, the whole pod standing, cloak and dagger, all that type of approach is really the way to go, because it just might keep them further away. Because, man, I would probably be kind of weary of people like that, you know, kind of, you know, moving through the forest like they're hunting me type of thing.
Robert Walker, yes, I have seen one do a whoop and a whistle broad daylight 60 yards from me, looking at me. Go ahead, Brent.
No, that was it. I'm good. I'm good. So the person, orgy, or
hey.
or
however you prefer, I'll respond.
Let's
hey,
keep
man.
it rated G.
So, hey, man, do you believe in Bigfoot?
I am skeptical of his belief. I think it's cool, but I find, as I've told Pat before, I find the evidence to not hit the threshold to where I would find it acceptable.
I would love to talk to you.
I'm here.
You're talking to him now.
I gotta bounce out too soon, so I won't be too much of a distraction.
Go ahead, Brent. Brent, if you have questions, go ahead.
No, I don't have any questions. I was saying, so this is a good time for you guys to have that discussion. You know, really, you know.
I mean, I guess I should tell you my background, what I consider evidence. I have a background in the sciences. I have a master's degree in geophysics. I spent time doing research. I'm in education. You know, I've been out in the field doing the hard labor. I've worked in laboratories. I've been on published papers, all that stuff, you know. So, like, saying doing the research and doing the science, you know, I've cut my hands on the stuff. It's not a foreign concept to me. Well, I love the idea of cryptozoology, and I love the idea of this unknown ape creature that's like 8 foot tall or whatever, and walking around, all that's cool. I have no problem with it being true. I just don't believe it's true. So that's okay. My like baseline couple sentences there.
Oh, no, that's cool. I mean, you're right. The evidence isn't there to support it. Doesn't mean it's not true, but I definitely agree. The evidence isn't quite there to support it. A lot of it is eyewitness testimonials, people like Patrick and hopefully we'll get to that point where we get that evidence.
All right, and in real world situations with no bias, absolutely no bias, you have 10,000 tracks, casted tracks, photographed tracks. You have 26,000 people who have wrote out reports that I've seen this exists. Okay, you have hand grabs on trees and handprints in mud this big from trackers that track these things. Now, if you put each one of those lined up in an equation, what would X be? The probability of existence, the probability of non-existence.
Well, I mean, there's a good probability, but the evidence isn't quite there to definitively say, because some of those might not even be real prints. So some of it you have to look at individually too when it comes to the evidence.
Well, I'm not talking about scientific. I'm talking about from a person who's a skeptic who's saying, I don't see this. I'm not worried about the scientific community in this particular equation. Okay, how come I can show a hog print and it's a hog? I can show a deer print to someone, hey, that was a deer there. I can show a 22-inch 5-toed heel and toe track and track way. What is the end of that equation?
Well, we have examples of the deer print, and we also have examples of people faking Bigfoot prints too. So there comes the conundrum of believing a print is real. And I trust me, I believe Jeff and stuff, but even he could be wrong about certain things.
So you're saying that in the 18th century, mountain men were going out there and faking tracks?
Well, I haven't seen what they saw. They could have seen a grizzly bear double print that could have looked like
You're talking trackers.
Yeah, trackers that could easily be wrong too. Trackers that might not have. It comes down to, so we would have to find out who is making these claims, find out what their experience is coming down to.
With all due respect, if a frog had wings, he wouldn't bump his ass when he hopped. Okay, you're trying to boil everything down. Yes, sir.
I think you have an interesting dichotomy of belief here, where you don't seem to care about. You said like you don't care about the scientist's point of view, but at the same point, like that's kind of where is your threshold where you accept where Bigfoot acceptance is acceptable to you? Like, you personally believe it, but that's kind of irrelevant to everyone else, right? Like, I could personally believe I'm a attack helicopter. That doesn't make me an attack helicopter.
Well, also, you're taking out of context something. I said in this equation for a skeptical person.
Sure.
I didn't say for the entire equation for the Bigfoot community. Okay, I am pushing for scientific evidence. I support science coming in and us finding the correct evidence and hand it to them and filling that burden of proof for them.
Yes.
But I'm talking about from a personal experience, because I understand the psychology of belief and non-belief. Okay, it took me 3 encounters for me to wrap my head around what I am seeing and witnessing is real. I'm not going to be able to take what I say and hand it to a skeptic and have them believe a damn thing I say, because no one could have told me anything in 2002 and made me believe it.
Sure.
So that is something that I've been studying, is the psychology of belief and disbelief between what your eyes can see and what your mind can process. Okay, so mathematics is just an easier way to do it for on a personal level, not the entire Bigfoot equation. For on a personal level, if I can hand you a track pictures of track, if I can show you a handprint of a little one that I tracked with her tracks there, with her dragging saplings over the trail crossing because she didn't want anybody in there while she was playing. Okay, if I can show you a hand grab on a tree where they're stepping down, using that to balance themselves as they step down into a creek, crossing the creek. Okay, you take all those up. Okay, you do a comparison. You put that in an equation, and below that you put a deer scrape, a deer rub, and deer hoof tracks equals deer. Below that, hog waller, hog rub, hog track equals hog. Above that, you still have this equation of tracks, hand grabs, hand prints. What does that equation equal to? Mathematically, do the math.
I follow what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And my first go at it from a skeptical point of view would be, if it's just that obvious, why is there still an argument, right? There are plenty of people who know way more about this than you do that don't believe this is Bigfoot. And I feel as though they've seen this information and don't come to the same conclusion for a lot of the stuff that, Brett, is that your name? tall ones, dude?
Brent.
Brent, yeah.
You don't.
Brent. For exactly the stuff Brent was saying. You have all these stories of mountain men back in the day talking about seeing Bigfoot and all this. They also saw like the Jersey Devil. That doesn't mean the Jersey Devil's real. So, you have something that personally works for you, but personally works for you don't mean crap to me. And I think that's a fair way for me to go about it. I shouldn't believe something because you believe it.
It is. It's a fair way to view it for your point, but you cannot. It's almost as if I do not look at this mathematical equation. If I wrote it out on paper, and someone did the math, my 14-year-old did the math, there would be only one thing he could put in that and give that X value to. But our psychology, and there's no way this could happen because of our training and our modern training in this world that we know everything about it, skews and biases that.
So why don't people who would know how to answer this question? My background's not animals or biology or anything like that. I played with rocks in college. Like things that live, gross. I don't want to touch them, But thousands of people out there know exactly what you're talking about. A lot of them better than you do. That don't believe exactly what you're saying. That probably have seen similar lines of evidence. So,
well, I'd like for you to.
How do you justify that?
Who knows better than me? Point someone out that's had 33 encounters and 8 face-to-faces with this thing. Tell them actually they need 34 encounters and 9 face-to-faces with them, and bring them on and have them discuss this with me.
So I guess I'll be explicit. That was a hypothetical. I'm not super in-depth into the Sasquatch community. However, I don't feel as though it's a bad statement to say there's people that understand the woods as well as you, we'll say, understand, tracks as well as you, that have probably seen evidence similar to what you're talking about that don't believe you, right? Not every single woodsman believes in Bigfoot. So your equation example that you've been giving is like, I wish there was someone here that like knew more of this subject, because again, I'm very fresh in this. So I think I was on this. I first came here like a month ago. So and also your line of evidence is purely. I don't have it in front of me, right? And honestly, I don't know if I understand it anyways.
Okay, if I could try and explain, if I can interject here.
Well, actually, here before everybody gets into it, I really got to bounce out. It's date night, so got to go. So great talking to you. Good to meet you, Orgy or whatever.
I like people not knowing how to say it. It's fun. So,
all right, cool.
We'll call him Jorge.
JC, all right, bye, Brent. Man, it's nice chatting with you. Thank you. Pat, could you pull JC up? It says Patrick.
And
please.
This is a part of my wanting to interject here, but go ahead, Patrick.
Go to Bigfoot Explorer. I took a cameraman in there and tracked in front of him. Okay, go look at that.
Wait, what am I? You want me to go to something? Say that again, please.
No.
Okay.
That was for Patrick. He was responding to a question I pulled up. If you can't, I don't know if you can see that or not. Yeah. Okay.
I saw it. Yeah.
Yep. So, all right. So when it comes to the concept of other people who have skill sets and different things, I can actually give you a pretty good anecdote actually using Patrick in this scenario. So I'll do that in real time. So Patrick, you're part of a primitive survival group. Is that correct?
Primitive survival, primitive living skills, and I'm an instructor. And it's
bushcraft, stuff like that.
It's not bushcraft. Bushcraft and all the stuff you see on shows teaches you go to Walmart and pick up stuff and go out there and use it. What we use is we renew our sources from the natural world. Our discipline is that you can go out into the woods and you don't need rescue. You live your life out there.
All right. So real quick, Patrick, what's the age of technology you're allowed to use in this group?
It has to be pre-1839.
Okay.
All right. So technology predating 1839.
No,
Yeah,
no musket
1830
caps. You guys are flintlock.
Yeah, we're flintlock all the way back to Stone Age if you want.
Okay.
Okay. How many people are in this group, Patrick?
Probably close to 3,000.
Are locally?
Locally, and well, we're in every state of the union.
Okay, so you're a part of a group that's nationwide.
Yeah, we have a nation, we have an international group, then we have our national, which is broke down. Every 3 or 4 states has its own chapter, and we have multiple chapters across the United States.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Again, this is real time. I don't know the answer you're going to give me or anything. It's just a fair question. Out of all the group that's in your area, the 3 to 4 state area where you guys gather and get together, like how many of those people who have those skill sets have ever had an encounter with a Bigfoot or even think that they could even possibly exist?
I would say 60%.
Wow.
But we're not allowed to talk about it. Okay,
That's a higher number
banned.
than I thought you would say. Holy shit.
We're banned from discussing it. Most people will not discuss it. There's only 3 of us in our local area that will discuss it privately. I discuss it openly. I'm the only one in my group nationwide that will discuss it openly, because there could be some serious ramifications. You're talking 20 years. Okay, to get you got a 2-year internship to be an intern. To get you have to learn perimeter survival, how to survive in your area, walk out in the woods with a knife and build a fire, making cordage, snares, traps, killing animals, skinning them out, fleshing the hides, brain tanning the hides, making clothes out of them. Okay, there are a myriad of things you have to do to even be considered to be a member full time. And so you're talking about some ramifications of being kicked out of something like that.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get to the point, which was a good point that Jorge brought up. Is that, well, there's a lot of professionals in this world that don't know anything about what you're talking about, and why is that disconnect there? And you kind of said, well, you're almost like, in my opinion, like saying, well, they kind of do. And it becomes an issue of how much are you willing to talk about it. It's a very personal thing at that point. And so if you could opine on that.
Opine on in my group?
Yeah, just the general question, which is a fair question from Jorge. It's like, well, there's other professionals that that don't talk about this stuff. There should be like a bigger body of knowledge. Why aren't people talking about it?
Well, I'm a professional. I mean, I'm a thermoplastics engineer. Okay. I do CAD drafting design work. Okay. We have cops, judges, lawyers, everybody from all walks of life, professional, all the way down to just, a guy who works in a mechanic shop that has either seen, heard, or I know a guy personally that rode up on one on his Mustang, on his horse, on a mountain in Utah. He said he went uphill and he went downhill and they just left each other alone. So, the thing is that you can't wrap your mind around this existence, because I couldn't either. I grew up in the woods hunting, fishing. Okay, at 30 years old, it was the first time I ever come across one. And it didn't exist to me. I hallucinated. There's no way that. And I tried to debunk. I spent almost 8 years debunking until I couldn't debunk anymore. And there it is. It's real. A third encounter. She's standing in front of me, the girlfriend, and my son. All three of us looking at her. Okay. And I can't take that and hand it to anybody and expect them to believe it, because I couldn't believe what my own eyes were showing me. And that's the psychology that I've just been discussing. It doesn't matter what evidence I put out there. I have evidence of their existence. It's how it's perceived also, and the bias against it from our natural disbeliefs and bias of there's no way.
So, try to just be brutally honest, right? I'm on YouTube. I'm used to being insulted here. Do I not believe because I'm biased, or is there another thing in your mind, Patrick?
We're all biased. Okay, you grew up in a city. You grew up.
Yeah. You're assuming things about me now.
Well, you are. Either a city or rural community. Okay, what I meant to say, I guess, is a house. You grew up in man's world. Okay, if you look around you and you ask someone,
I was not raised by wolves. This is true.
Yeah, but you look around you and people will say, and this is people's perception, and that you say, what's the world? And they say, look around you. This is the world. This is not the world. This is man's subsidized system that has been created on Earth, and the natural world is the actual real world. Okay. Now that is boiled down perception. Okay. Now, when you're raised in man's subsidized system, educated by man, and you know everything there is to know about this world and all the beings in it and everything else, and there's very little to question, and this doesn't exist for 30 years like I was, and then you see one. I had 2 years of nightmares over that. Okay. Put yourself in my shoes. 30 years of not seeing one and being in the woods, but here it is. And you're trying to hand that to someone, and they're saying you're full of it.
So I don't mean to misrepresent you. I'm just going to try to tell you the way I'm receiving your statement here. Mm-hmm. It sounds to me like you're saying you're not going to believe until it happens to you.
Believe is not the right word. If I can interject, it's not a belief. Well, it is. I don't believe in Bigfoot. I don't have faith in Bigfoot. Sure. I understand there's a legitimate phenomena happening where people like Patrick are seeing 8-foot tall monkey men in the woods and pissing their pants. I'm not saying Patrick did. I'm just saying some of them do, or then have serious, like very serious repercussions.
Pat, I am perfectly fine with that phrasing.
Okay.
If we could cut that into an acronym instead of having be like a 2-minute long sentence, that'd be cool. But what Patrick just said, for me to have that acceptance of the reality of the situation, I need to see Bigfoot with my eyes.
You still won't believe
That's what I'm getting out of you.
You still won't believe it. You're going to have to see him a few times before you even wrap your head around it.
Sure.
Because that was me.
So this is where we're going to differ, because to me, that's a pretty crappy line of evidence, right? As someone who grew up in geology, as someone who has 2 degrees in the geology,
I agree.
You don't see geology happen really outside of volcanoes. So when I say something's, 20 million years of blankety blank, I go back billions of years with my studies, I don't see it happen, but I have lines of evidence to verify that when I say this rock is 1.5 billion years old, I have a reason to say that. Mm-hmm. Right? I don't need to see it physically age for 1.5 billion years to know this rock is 1.5 billion years old. I've worked with rocks that are 1.5 billion years old.
Yeah.
So to me, I don't need the first person experience to accept it. But you're kind of saying I do for Bigfoot, or am I misconstruing?
I might have generalized a little bit, but I'm just talking the average skeptic that cannot wrap their mind around the proof of existence of tracks and people saying they're there and vocals. Okay, if you have vocals of a being, if you have tracks of a being, if you have handprints and hand grabs of a being, okay, then you're going to turn around and say it's kangaroo. You know what I mean? That's the average skeptic and the mindset. And it was definitely mine in 2002. 2002, I laughed at a guy so hard I was rude to him. I said, there's no way that exists. And then I got chased for a mile out in 2003, and I called it a hallucination. And then I had a second encounter 6 years later, and I said, okay, there's a phenomenon that's called Bigfoot out here, and I've got to debunk it. And in 2011, okay, here it is in front of three of us, and we're looking at it. I can't debunk this anymore. I debunked myself.
Yes.
Okay. So, you know.
Again, I am never going to tell you that you were wrong in what you perceived, right?
Yeah.
I'm not you. What you saw is what you saw.
We're here.
I got to argue from my point of view here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I don't care what you saw, right? I mean, that's a completely reasonable sentence for me to say, right?
Yeah.
It's understandable because in this sense, Jorge, I know where you're coming from. Anecdote is not evidence, you know. So I get that.
I guess I would add we have in science and biology examples of creatures that we did not think exist that had stories like that, and then we came to find out they do exist. The coelacanth, for example, that the fish down South America that we thought was extinct 100 million years ago, still swimming around out there by Brazil. They had stories of the coelacanth, their first person experiences, until they actually found one, proved it existed.
Yeah, I'm that fisherman.
I think the Tasmanian tiger is along those same lines. People still see the Tasmanian tiger. That don't mean they exist until we have something better. And unless I see one, unless I have a Patrick experience, I gotta wait for something more.
I think I believe, if I'm correct, what you're outlining is beyond your personal experience. What you want is a high level science journal written out and everything explained.
I think that's fair. Yes, I think what you said is a good representation of what I said.
Yeah, I want that too. I just don't have that data.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have a body. Okay, it is extremely dangerous to go try to get a body.
I believe
people don't understand. People don't quite get that, and so right now. I see us as being in between. Okay, we're in between, and I'm telling you I know, and then I got these other people going, well, prove it. Well, I'm trying. So, but we cannot say it does not exist. That's part of it. You can't say it doesn't exist. It doesn't officially exist. That needs to be outlined right there. It does not officially exist. Okay, I without a birth certificate, I don't officially exist, but I'm still here, and you're looking at me.
Well,
you don't governmentally exist, so
officially,
officially, right?
So how should I describe Bigfoot given my worldview? Like, what word would you want me to use?
Phenomenal.
I'm not going to say in any way, shape, or form he exists until I have a belief that he exists. I'm sorry I said belief, Pat. I know I triggered you, but what in your opinion is the wording I should use?
I'd say phenomenon.
Phenomenon. The phenomenon is real.
It's actually phenomena, which is plural.
Singular. Yeah.
That's plural. Phenomena is plural.
Okay.
So I would say phenomena.
Yeah.
Which is where I'm at, right? Like, I'm a skeptic. Like, I'm, like you and me, we could go debate together other topics. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As skeptics, like you and me would crush it in 9/11 conspiracies, or you know what I mean? Like,
we never went to the moon.
I mean, flat Earth. That's kind of low hanging fruit.
Don't get me going, Patrick.
Yeah.
I got a big YouTube channel. I've talked about this stuff.
No, so you and I, Jorge, could we could team up and go crush stuff. That's wrong, right? That we know is right. So I'm again, man, I'm the skeptic in the Bigfoot world who's just sitting here going, hey guys, I'm looking at the rest of the skeptics going, you know what? There's something actually here worth like looking into, or at least having a willingness to consider the idea. And that's it. I'm not trying to say, here's the dead Bigfoot right in front of your face.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I'm not.
So it's a complicated place I'm in.
Yeah.
You know.
I will say, Patrick, if you let me real quick, I'm glad that there's tiers to the community here on YouTube for Sasquatch.
Yes,
you know, Patrick and Pat are different tiers, and that is a good thing for the survival of the community.
Thank you.
In my humble view, as some random douchebag on the internet.
No, we like you.
Yeah, we like you're not a random douchebag. Like, dude, like I said, I'm more like you than you would probably think. You know, and yeah, there are different tiers, and we believe it or not, we're like this very thin slice of the tier because everything in the Bigfoot community is fucking nuts or a hoax. I mean, we fully admit that. It. Or entertainment.
Some of us are banned and kicked off of pages because
yes,
we will question. It's not that we make fun of anybody. It's just that we question. You can't question the narrative. And so and that's incorrect to me. Science is not biased. It is an open field for research, investigation, and evidence, wherever it goes. So, and I'm not here trying to say I can prove Bigfoot's real. I can concede to there's a phenomenon of all this anecdotal evidence, all this physical trace sign of tracks, hand grabs, handprints, and since we have cave drawings from First Nations drawing them on cave walls next to coyote and elk and deer, drawing them as real beings. The First Nations called them real beings. First Nations has anecdotal accounts of them being in their lives way back hundreds of years.
Yes.
Okay, and that continues. This is a phenomenon in itself. How does something that was in First Nations for hundreds of years and mankind comes to this continent and that phenomenon continues? All right, this still continues throughout this I guess our European settlers. How does it continue from First Nations to European settlers, across the board? Same description.
So I guess before I go any further, I'm not going to say there's no evidence. I'm just going to say, personally, I'm waiting for the physical.
Oh yeah, me too.
But no, I'm not going to say what you said is not evidence. I would ask you, given size, calorie requirement, all these other, I'm losing the word here, amount of area they need to survive, all that stuff. How is Bigfoot still living in the numbers that you can see it when similar sized creatures such as, your big cats of North America can't? So why is Bigfoot still around in places that mountain lions, for example, are not?
I don't know what you mean about mountain lions aren't, because I got them all over Louisiana.
Well, yeah, but there was large predators throughout the United States, current United States, back in the times of the Native Americans and the First Nations people. There was large predators now that are not there.
You're talking about
anywhere similar numbers.
You're talking about saber-tooths.
Well, not necessarily saber-tooths, but like not every animal that was prevalent 400 years ago is around today. Humans have scared a lot of them off. I know in the Midwest, wolves would be an example of that.
Well,
wolves are few and far between if they even exist in the Midwest.
He's just saying, like, what, how do you explain their food?
I thought I didn't do the question. I saw the question was not smooth. It's off the top of my head.
Yeah, a little convoluted. That's all right. Well, first off, you're making a blatant statement that where man is, that large predators aren't, and that isn't the case. The food sources for the big cats and wolves definitely were diminished, and that does have a direct impact on their population.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, that said, you're assuming that a large predator such as Bigfoot wouldn't be around humans because there wouldn't be enough food source, but other large predators do find a way to live with humans also.
Yeah, like bears and stuff.
Now in my area, we have a wild hog epidemic going on, and I find them following the herds of these hogs a lot. They, in my area, I would say, 20-30% deer, the rest hog, berries, wild briars, uh, oysters, freshwater oysters, crawfish. Uh, that's what I find them going after when I'm tracking them.
They're eating oysters.
Well, the freshwater clams, freshwater oysters.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that's cool. So I'm trying to figure out a better way to ask my question because your answer, like, we know certain large predators are less populous, but we still see them, or at least we see irrefutable evidence of large predators in places where they were more prevalent. But we have no irrefutable evidence of Bigfoot either in any modern sense. I'm trying to figure out how the population could survive while being diminished due to man's interference, but still be a population enough to exist. Like, I'm sorry I'm not phrasing it correctly because I'm not, this is all top of my head sort of questions,
Yeah.
but
Well, I have an answer. I'm not sure if it'll address your actual question. Well, you're talking about, people living around bears see bears. Well, people are seeing Bigfoot too. They're just not being believed. Okay. And also bears don't have the mindset that this is not a roving animal that just roves through the forest picking berries, la-di-da. They have a plan. They have a plan. I've tracked them. I've set experiments for them and had them reverse engineer my experiments, for lack of a better way to describe it, and actually get around my experiment.
So they have like a crow level intelligence, maybe. Or?
I compare them to Neanderthal. That's about the level of intelligence.
Like a 6-year-old, 10-year-old, maybe. Because we don't really know what a Neanderthal's intelligence was, right? We have to just guess.
They said that their brain was a little smaller than ours, but they had the same they had intelligence, extreme intelligence.
Yeah.
It's not quite as smart as modern man.
Yes.
Because they did run together and they did compete against each other, and even interbred. But they had very similar intelligence to modern man, and that's what I believe these things have. They don't have the technology, but they certainly have the intelligence. And they certainly have the skill sets, and the eyesight is amazing. Okay, I set out a hair trap with clear packing tape wrapped around 4 trees.
Yes.
That where they were coming through to try to collect. Clear packing tape, no moon, cloudy night. I'm expecting. I can't even see it in the daytime hardly unless it blows and I see the glimmer. And they ducked it in the dark. Okay, they saw clear packing tape, pitch black, across their trail and ducked it.
So it's the fun of this conversation is every answer you give, I come up with 4 more questions, right?
I don't mind. We're here for that.
Exactly. That's why these conversations are fun. You're giving this creature high enough intelligence that it has like tool use levels of intelligence, because Neanderthal, I believe, had that sort of stuff.
Well, it certainly uses some. It uses,
and I'm wondering,
it uses some kind of percussion instruments or not.
Why, given the prevalence of supposed Bigfoot living area, do we not find houses or some sort of dwelling?
Oh,
like that sounds like something that would exist, given what if it's small enough to see tape and not touch it? I feel as though it should build like a house. You know,
I understand, but I'll tell you, they are smart enough to observe us, to learn our strengths and weaknesses, watch how we use the national forests, and find the barriers that we don't want to cross. We like a certain amount of comfort. We're not going to cross this raging creek or river to get back to another area when we can just hunt on this side of the creek. Okay, they use all those things against us along with our conveyance, and our conveyance is on the rock roads hearing them come from a mile away. Okay, they hear you coming. They know the areas that you're going to frequent or the easiest ones to get to. So they go behind the barrier, and I've tracked them behind the barrier. Behind the barrier is where I usually start my tracking. And they have their own area that they go to, and that's to stay away from you. Now,
so if you know where they're going to hide, I feel as though you could make an effort to go there and then get that affirmative evidence, right? Like,
easier said than done.
I've walked in. I can find where they've been at. That's not a hard thing to do. My hard thing to do is to get next to them because they see you coming a long ways off.
Well, I'm just picturing this out in my head, but you get History Channel money in on this. I could see 50 guys go in the woods 50 Patricks tracking this and finding affirmative proof. I know History Channel is a joke. Those shows were kind of weird. Except you interview the guys, so I don't want to insult too much. But to me, it seems like this is a question that could be easily answered, but it hasn't.
Define proof.
Bigfoot's house. Bigfoot's what Bigfoot cuts his meat on. Some jewelry Bigfoot made for Mrs. Bigfoot. Something like if you're saying this level of intelligence demands things left over. We have evidence of Neanderthal beyond just bones.
Well, you're presuming that they'll want to do that. Okay, I can't say that they just don't tear.
Correct, I am.
I can't say they just won't tear an animal apart and eat it and bury the bones. I can't say that they build a house. I don't think they do.
Well, but wouldn't bury the bones be like? Well, no, I guess never mind. I just your description of their intelligence implies some sort of permanent, even nomadic dwelling or structure, which you would think you could be able to find in a way that's very evidently not an animal.
Yeah, I agree. I would love to find that.
Okay.
I've been tracking in the areas, and I've been warned out. And Patrick Vaughn, North Louisiana expedition, tracking with a camera behind me. Their home site was behind a creek, and I had a 3-knock. It was actually a yell, a 3-knock, a 6-knock, and a 3-knock. And we left the area.
So I'm going, for sake of conversation, I'm going to assume that everything you just described was 100% exactly what you described. Again, you believe it. I don't believe it because
it's on video. You can go watch it. It's on video. Everything's pulled up on Spectrogram. You can go look at it.
Yeah. So why don't we just pull some Manifest Destiny here, do it 1700 style, and go in with our cannons and our foot soldiers and just definitely have it taken? Like, what is stopping you? What is stopping people from going in their conquistador style? And
because there's no force to do that. No force will do it. There's nobody to do it.
Well, there's 2 reasons why I don't do it. First off, you're not going to run one down. Okay, they're twice fast as you. Second off, I'm not going to shoot something that has my nose. Okay, that's a hard decision to make because I've had to plan on, am I going to shoot this thing or not? And it wound up I didn't have to, and I was so glad I didn't have to because I don't want to kill anything with my nose. I'd rather dart one. What I'd like to do is get I'd like to weaponize a drone with dart, put 6 dart guns on it and chase the damn thing down and dart it. That's what I would like to do.
Sure.
Now, if I had History Channel money or Expedition money, yeah, maybe that'd be possible.
Yeah.
So
You have to
hypothetically,
effort.
hypothetically, I'm not this rich. I give you $5 million and 50 men and tell you I'll give you personally another 5 million if you bring me a carcass. You think you could do it?
Oh God.
A dead body.
Yes. $5 million. I'll give you resources. You think you could not would you? Do you think you could physically?
Beyond the
Pretend you don't have morals.
Yeah, if I don't have morals, and Bigfoot people, close your ears. Hypothetically, without morals, 10 guys and a chopper, cargo net, and I could get one out.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
I agree. Like an actual $10 million budget. Yeah, we could get one dead or alive. I would say dead. I disagree, Patrick. Like I think dead would be the easy route. With 10 million,
well, I mean,
I don't have 10 million, by the way. Just to brush out those hopes of a second house. I don't have 10 million.
Well, I know a private landowner. Actually, I know several private landowners that have these beings.
Echo is not me, by the way. I just muted.
Frequenting their land. So it's not like if I could find one. It's more of the morals. Without morals, yeah. But thing is, you're not going to drag one out. You're going to have a chopper. You're going to have a cargo net and some guys rolled over into a cargo net to take off with it. Then you're going to have to get out of there without getting killed by their family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A massive effort that's never been tried before.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we're at. That's why, we look at it as it's not a good idea to track these things down to where they actually are. Well, because you're usually by yourself or a small team of people. We don't have the resources of 50 men or helicopters and support or Predator drones or AC-130 gunship would be perfect, But who can afford that? I mean, if the government doesn't want to do it, then it's not going to get done on that level without an extreme amount of funding.
Well, you could take a 4.8 Shaytech with a advanced thermal night vision scope and bait one out for a couple of months, and you could do and chopper it out. But that is way beyond my morals, or at least in the public's eye.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm glad that you have the self-confidence to say that you could kill Bigfoot if I gave you $10 million. That's fun.
I've tracked 24 of these things.
Yeah.
It could be done. It could be done with 2 million. That's no problem.
I have over 10,000 hours tracking these things.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out. I'm sure you guys are racking your brains on this too. What is something reasonable that could be done that would fit? So I guess let me back that question up a bit. How important to you personally is it that someone like me believes you? Obviously, you have some amount of want for me to believe. Otherwise, you won't be doing this, right?
To tell you the truth,
why would you have a YouTube channel about Sasquatch if you didn't want to push your idea?
For me, it's just open discourse. That's all.
Yeah. For me, this is an experiment. Okay, we have a skeptic, we have a knower, and we have a disbeliever. Okay, and a small experiment. What are your questions? Can your questions you ask, can better hypotheses be derived from them? Better ideas be derived from them? From our standpoint, for us to develop better experiments and gain more knowledge, more insight, more evidence. So that's how I see this.
Okay. Yep, that's I mean, that's legitimate enough.
Yeah, we're in a weird position, man. I'm in a weird position. It's tough, dude. I want to bridge the gap, Jorge. Like, to me, like I don't want to kill one. I don't advocate for killing them because that's a dangerous prospect.
Yeah.
It's kind of like announcing to your average Joe, "Hey, just go kill a grizzly bear that you've never even seen in your life," right? Like or an alligator, you know, and it's not safe. I want to bridge that gap, and I think, what if Jorge, what if I dropped 45 minutes of compelling or conclusive footage in your lap? What would that do to bridge the gap, you think?
So I would like to believe, I have this conversation with creationists a lot, right? I'd like to believe I'm accepting to anything as long as it's good enough. I won't know until I do it. Obviously, I'm not gonna, make that claim. But I'd like to believe that I would love to believe that there is video evidence that solely alone could convince me of what you're saying.
I would say it hasn't been captured yet.
Okay.
Yeah. So if it were captured in the near future, and I dropped it in your lap or other like scientists.
Yes.
So at a conference or something or wherever, even if it was just personal, and it was 45 minutes of a Bigfoot tramping around through the woods with all the metadata provided, right? So all the metadata. So there's no CG,
no CGI involved.
No CGI, no Photoshop, no any kind of interference. This is what the camera saw. And I'll say it's at least compelling, if not conclusive. Both those things are subjective, I know.
So Pat, I'll give you a 1-to-1 example here. There are plenty of deep sea aquatic life that we only have video evidence of that no one questions their existence. Right?
Correct.
There are squids what's that big fin squid? I don't know if you've ever seen that video. It's like 50 feet long and it's like straight out of H.P. Lovecraft stuff. Look it up if you get the chance. Totally terrifying creature. No one in the scientific community doubts its existence. And we have 2 videos of it.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah,
I would assume if you get that, no one's going to question it. Maybe a bit more for Bigfoot because he's such a pop culture phenomenon.
Right.
But
it would gain more interest. It would start to bridge the gap.
Yeah.
Better than discourse, right? Better than discourse. It was
Bigfoot squid. Look up Bigfoot squid when you get done with this. It's creepy as heck.
Yeah, so it would actually, I think it would create more discourse so that people right now in the scientific community or the skeptic world who are professionals or are kind of Bigfoot's stupid. This might actually make them go, well, what am I looking at here?
Yeah.
What is this video I'm seeing? So it would at least affect a percentage of skeptics and or scientific professionals. Go ahead, Patrick.
Well, we already have so many seconds of footage from 1967.
Yeah, 30 seconds.
The super famous one you're talking about?
Yeah. Now, science and all its glory and ultimate wisdom cannot debunk it. Cannot.
Yeah.
So, and that was on film. It wasn't CGI. It was real. Walking and looking. They tried to recreate it on film, couldn't. Tried to debunk the film, couldn't. And it's been 50 years and they still can't debunk it. but we won't call it the truth. That is the bias. That
So
is the biased mindset.
So I'm assuming we're talking about the same, like this, like in the woods, right? It's like a Super
Patty-
8 video, right?
Yeah,
It's like
Patty's film.
the Patterson Gimlin film.
Yeah, there we go, Patterson. I know what you're talking about. Again, you say it's been completely unrefutable, those other things.
Mhm.
I don't know if I'd agree with that statement. Like,
It has
I've
not been debunked.
I've seen debunking claims that personally I think are acceptable. Most of them revolve around dude in a suit. You and me have different views on this. Obviously, I'm not super well versed in this conversation, but
You don't have to be.
I am aware of the video that you're talking about, and the arguments I've seen from major people. Ahmed Skeptic would be a big one here on YouTube. He did a good hour-long video on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I can link it on this private chat if you want.
I would. Yeah, I would like to talk to him. Actually, do you know him?
I do not personally know.
Well,
But like he's one of many that have proposed the dude in a suit hypothesis in a way that's not, in a way that doesn't, that is reasonable. If you don't have an issue believing that's fake, you could believe that's fake.
Well,
So
I mean, does he have a PhD? Is he a specialist?
I don't think so. No, I think he's just
It's okay, dude. No, yes, please link it or send it to me in email. You can just send it.
I can throw it in the private chat on the side here. I'm just looking for it real quick.
Yeah.
Well, I watched a PhD and specialist in motion and all their fields, scientific fields, break this thing down and said it's not a man.
Oh yeah, I believe other people have said that.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna take that.
Too many have said it.
Yeah, I have no issue believing that people believe it to be true.
Well, I'm going to take a PhD and the specialist in the scientific field over some guy that's ranting on YouTube saying, "Oh, I don't believe it."
No, again, Patrick, I have no problem. That's a completely legitimate point of view. I've been in this for like a month and a half. You know, you've spent many years in this.
I love this conversation. I love talking to you.
That being said, like, if you want to shoot it my direction, I can. I definitely would look at it when I get around to it.
Sure.
I have no problem believing it's not a dude in a suit. Again, I want to believe. I have no conniption with Bigfoot being real.
Well, that's good.
Shoot the stuff my way.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, man, you're a guy who's a skeptic, but you have a willingness to consider new ideas, and that's what this is all about, as far as I'm concerned.
I love his intelligence. I love his intelligence and how he throws intelligent questions and can carry on a great conversation. I love that. I hate it when people go, "Well, I don't like it because I said so." You know, that's how can you debate that? How can you talk about that? You know?
Yeah, Jorge is is not closed-minded.
Yeah,
curious.
I love how you approach
curiosity. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I have no like vested interest in being closed-minded. Yeah. Lots of people you're gonna run into on this shit site we have called YouTube benefit in some way personally from being closed-minded, right?
Yeah. I know.
I don't want to make my money off of YouTube. That sounds like a soul-sucking profession. So I'm happy making my money out in the real world. You know.
We'll get
no offense, Pat. If this is your plan, no offense, dude. But
no, man. It's not my plan in the Sasquatch world. I mean, there's people that play video games on YouTube and make, hundreds of thousands of dollars doing it. So
no shit, right?
Yeah. So I'm okay with that. But yeah, as far as principled shit, no way. Yeah. I will never go against my principles for making money on YouTube. Never.
Well, I seriously want to put this thing to bed so I can retire and go fishing. You know, I'm serious. That's what when it gets proof. You know, my goal is to design experiments and ask people questions and have great questions thought out there so we can derive better hypotheses, better theories, and better ways to test theories, better experiments, and derive and take these experiments and use them and develop a universal set of experiments that you can do nationwide and catch evidence of these beings. Okay, if I could repeat the same process in Oregon, Washington, Montana, all across the United States, and catch a 10-second or 20-second video of this thing coming in, if I could do it, 20, 30 times, that's compelling. And if you could get some people involved and actually put this thing to bed, I'm done. I can sleep at night. I don't sleep.
Has there been a hair sample taken in your knowledge?
I have.
Yes.
I have not had one.
There are. Look, there are, and it gets like I say, screw the hair. Like that's where I'm at, dude. The hair is not important. Like I tell people this. I'm like, if I saw a Sasquatch with my own eyes jump over a barbed wire fence and leave a tuft of hair, I'm just gonna grab that tuft of hair and go, interesting, and toss it over my shoulder.
Well, the reason I asked that is hair gives you DNA, and DNA is unique.
So hair doesn't always give you DNA. It's actually it can be extremely difficult to get DNA out of hair.
Well, I mean, like if the hair is pulled out of the skin, if you got the follicle, you obviously got DNA. I guess if you like clip your hair, maybe not. But if you got blood, right?
Hair. Yeah. So again, how long's the hair been there? It's not a lock. With hair, it's not a lock. But even further than that is that to properly sequence it. So where do you take that? How do you get it sequenced? How much money are you willing to spend to do it? And those labs just won't entertain the thought. If you bring up any kind of undiscovered primate, that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
They won't touch it, man. They won't. And unless you got $500,000 to say
that's an interesting sentence to me. And maybe this does go to, you guys are more familiar with this than I do, the like social faux pas that is Bigfoot. But I know, are you guys familiar with the mud fossil community at all? Please tell me no.
No,
not that community, but I have seen mud fossils, but not. I'm not part of that community.
Thank God. So the biggest mud fossil dude had a laboratory, quote unquote, check his mud fossils for carbon, and it's like a legitimate laboratory, and he legitimately got results back. So the fact that he can give a rock to someone and say, check this for carbon, that makes me think it'd be possible for you guys to give a hair or a skin or a poop sample to someone and say, check it. Like, I don't know how much that stuff costs, but
it has to be done within 8 hours for a poop sample.
I can believe that. I mean, but I imagine you could like refrigerate it, throw your beer out, put your poop in, sort of thing. Like I feel as though this is something that could be prepped ahead of time and say, I'm going to go searching for Bigfoot. I need you to accept this. How much did that cost? Right? Like, I feel as though that's something that can be done. And again, Patrick, you're asking for hypotheses and testing. Like, these laboratories exist. Basically, any decent scientific college will have a laboratory that can do that. So, and there's a scientist that I guarantee you is willing to be the guy that publishes the paper on Bigfoot. So,
yeah, look again, to properly sequence costs a lot of money. You're gonna use up time of your interns and people like that. Yeah. It depends on.
I've worked in a laboratory before. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, so it depends on if it's If you go to a university, a grant-funded place, they're definitely not going to touch it. So if you go to a commercial lab, then you have to plop that money down to get it properly sequenced. And again, hair does not guarantee DNA. It doesn't. So you're fighting a huge battle with DNA. I've come to realize DNA right now is the bridge, is not the way to go. Go ahead, Patrick.
What experiment can you come up with that would pull a blood sample off of one of these beings? I mean, a legitimate question, because I've been banging around a couple of ideas, something that's not too atrocious. Because I've thought about a piece of 20-inch pipe with some roasted pork in the bottom, with like a guillotine where it would stab him. But
my first idea would be, well, so again, you have the problem wherein the stuff decomposes once it leaves, right? Crime scenes need to be got at fast, otherwise the stuff's we've all seen Law and Order. So short of some sort of trap that holds him until you get there, in which case take a fucking picture. Right?
Right.
It's hard. It's difficult. I completely agree with that. I wish I could give you a better answer.
Well, just something for you to think of, just something for you to ponder and think of, and maybe if you come on again, you might have. Because I rack my brain for all the time, and I'm drawing off of primitive survival traps mixed with modern technology.
So the thing that gets me is scientists are actively finding new species every day, right? Not every day, but every year they find new interesting species, and a lot of them are super weird and super remote parts of the world. I grant you that Bigfoot's such a pop culture thing. Legitimate scientists don't want to pursue it. I grant that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean the techniques they use outside of the realm of modern Bigfoot pursuers.
But what species are they discovering?
There's large species, not just all ants and butterflies. Like, they find large modern species that they can show are distinct. Look up a top 10 new species list for any given year, and you'll find like even apes, like monkeys and stuff like that. So
only one, like divergent, barely divergent chimpanzee, Billy ape.
But there you go. If you can get enough evidence to prove a chimpanzee is a different species.
Yeah, but
they're using techniques that technically you guys use.
How do we get to that?
We got a dart one. We got a dart one.
I gotta take a break. I'm like on beer 4, and I gotta pee. So
all right, we'll wait.
That's fine.
All right, BRB.
I love talking to this guy. I mean, he's so intelligent.
Yeah, see, it's and it's all fair questions. I know where he's coming from, and
I like him. Hit me with it.
The point is that the curiosity is there. It's not just some like absolutist, dismissive.
Yeah.
I mean, Patrick, you remember my debate.
Where you got your ass handed to you.
Yeah, and I kind of got my ass handed to me half of the debate. I recovered a little bit. I still disagree with you guys' assessment of that, but yeah, like when people are like trying to be tactical and like, well, I'm here to be tactical and make you look like a fool, Jorge's not doing that. He's genuinely curious. He's like, well, what if? Or what about this? What about that? It's all fair questions, which are allowed on Squatch Talk.
Do you know Brain Bug?
Huh?
Do you know Brain Bug?
Brain Bug? What?
Brain Bug in the chat.
No, why?
I think I remember him. Brain Bug, are you from Modern Day Debate Channel? I think I saw him in there. He's wanting a link.
He just said he just said this.
Yeah, well, he asked if he could come in like 6 comments ago.
Oh, hey, I know Brainbug.
He wants to come in. Really?
Oh, Brainbug's he's like an entomologist or something. He's good. He's not an ass like some people. So
bring him in. Shit.
I will. I could do that through.
I think I have Brainbug. Do I got your email? You want to email me?
Yeah, you already have it. You already have it, Ori.
I want to say I have his email. God, I hope.
No,
I'm
saying you already have the link. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I can email it to him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brainbug. My email is just my name at gmail.com. So shoot me a message. I'll send you the link.
I think he's
He actually just got done doing a live stream where they were classifying the kaiju, the Godzilla monsters, like taxonomically where they would fall. That's pretty fun.
Oh, you mean like physically, like the
physics, how, like what genus and species would Rodan be or something like that. So,
well, someone said Godzilla would produce so many thousands of gallons of urine a day that it would drown the earth after a month. I mean, I don't know if it's true, but I don't know if it's true. And a completely different tangent. The other day at work, someone was drinking out of the water cooler, and I asked him. I said, "Do you think they actually filter all the fish pee out, or do you just think we are actually grown accustomed to the taste where we don't notice it?"
Oh, swim in a public pool. I mean, I don't want to know that percentage.
All right, I'll be RB.
All right, I got Brainbug. I'll shoot him to the StreamYard. Squatch talk.
Yeah, think about it. I mean, we're drinking water and we're like, man, this fish pee is so good. Don't even notice it.
Weird conspiracy theory for you. Maybe good tasting water is high percentage fish piss. Like,
oh my gosh.
Like crappy, like city water tastes bad because they filter out all the fish pee.
Smart water is the city fish.
I mean, you never quite know.
Yeah, they went to the school. Pun intended.
I shot Brainbug the StreamYard. He's probably in the back right now. Of course, Pat needs to take a piss break right now, so ruin our day.
What happened?
There he is.
Maybe in the back room. We don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Welcome to the show, Brian.
Brian, yeah, you can call me Brian. I actually found you through Erica, so I think Orgay might have too, but I'm not sure.
Through the MDD debate.
I know that you might feel like you performed poorly there, but I heard you talk. Was it the debate you were referring to with Erica Gibbon?
Oh no, not that one.
Because you all that it was more of a conversation than a debate, and I thought it went nicely. And it was kind of cool seeing you all kind of parse ideas about it, and that's kind of what I see going on here with Orgay too. I'm in that camp too. I spent my childhood, trying to find cryptids and looking at cryptid information, and I'm all into that. I do debunk a lot of the stuff, though. I mean, I like pictures and things like that. I spend some time doing that, stories. It's actually part of what I do on my show, which is on Saturday mornings. So, yeah, check that out. But there's my plug for my stuff.
Oh, that's fine. Plug away.
And so where were you guys in the conversation?
Fish piss.
Yeah. Well, first of all, like what you referenced was my conversation with Erica on a different channel. It wasn't Modern Day Debate. It was the
Agree to Disagree.
Agree to Disagree channel. Yeah, and we had a good conversation. What we were talking about with the Modern Day Debate was my Bigfoot debate, where like my guys felt like I had a Porsche ring, and I did. I let them drag me down into the minutia of shit before I realized I had to snap out of that.
So in Orgay, it's ecology, not entomology. I do love entomology though.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I that's my field, but there's a big overlap. But I like discussing how animals interact and how the ecology survives and supports the organisms within it. So Bigfoot discussion is always fun.
Well, you're a good professional to talk to right now.
I'm a student,
for us.
not a professional. As far as professional, yeah, it's no. I'm still a student.
So, question for the Squatchers and for Brainbug over there. What would Bigfoot have come from? Because to my knowledge, great apes weren't a big thing in North America. So, like, where would Bigfoot have evolved from?
It'd have to be a hominid. Obviously, let's see.
Like, because Patrick was talking about Neanderthal as an example, right? So presumably Bigfoot is early in the tree, like he's close to us in the tree, but great apes weren't a thing in the fossil record in North America. So, like, I think they were in South America. There's a couple apes in South America, but like, how do you? Where's that split happen?
Well, the fossil record.
Whoa! Hold on. What about the apes in South America?
I think isn't there a monkey or two in South America?
There's monkeys in South America.
Yeah, those aren't apes.
Yeah. Oh, my bad. I play with rocks. I don't fucking know.
Yeah. So they
stop it.
They almost certainly would have had to cross the land bridge, between
Beringia.
Yeah, the Bering, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, over between Russia and Alaska, basically. They almost certainly would have had to cross that, which a lot of large animals did.
Well, they did, but they were all cursorial animals. I can't think of any species that wasn't cursorial that crossed that bridge into North America.
What didn't like the giant sloths of South America? Didn't they come from like Africa back when the Atlantic Ocean was closed?
Well, yeah, the xenotheres their closest relatives phylogenetically are the afrotheres, which are like manatees and hyrax.
These words have like way too many letters in them. What are you saying?
Okay, so xenotherians are sloths, anteaters, and armadillos. Okay. That's a clade. Together, they all come from a common ancestor. And then their closest clade that they're related to is the afrotheres, which are proboscideans, elephants, sirenia, which are manatees and dugongs, and hyrax, which are kind of little animals that fill a rabbit niche in rocky areas in Africa, in West. I think it's West Africa. Yeah, in West Africa. So sorry if I'm going too much into detail on this, but they share a common ancestor. And then, so xenotherians are not really, they have low metabolism. So they have pushed northward since the land bridge between North and South America closed, but they have, since they have a low metabolism, they don't do well too far from the equator.
Huh. Well, I have a question for the brainy people.
I'm calling brainy people.
Well, I'm including you too, Pat.
Oh, he's so nice. Hey,
I set him up and he stepped right into it. Okay, anyway. What is more plausible? That 26,000 people are lying about what they've seen, that tens of thousands of tracks have been faked all across the nation for hundreds of years, or that we missed something on the hominid tree?
Fair question.
I'm with you. I do think people are seeing something. I'm just there's a wide variety of ideas behind what they're seeing. I don't. Do you think that Patrick? Do you think that Sasquatch is a hominin?
I definitely believe it's a hominid.
Okay, and when would you have it? When you would have it crossing the Beringia?
I'm not sure it doesn't go back to Pangea.
Probably.
That's so that's where Alaska and Eastern Russia where they meet.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I want to make sure. I wasn't assuming you didn't know. I just we don't have a lot of non-human primate evidence leading up to there. Not that we don't have any. We have Denisovans.
Yeah,
Denisovans. Which are humans.
But you're talking about
they're in Homo.
But you're talking about what we found. And what we found has been what's been excavated is like what 0.5% of this earth.
Yeah.
It's been excavated. So, you're talking about what we found. This may be there and it hasn't been found. This whole time. I don't know. I don't think but we got so many people that keep going back to, well, what about this fossil record? The fossil record is incomplete. You only know that much.
Yep.
And I agree on that. I do. The fossil record is sparse. It takes special conditions for an animal to fossilize. And a lot of that area that we're talking about, Beringia, is now very, very far beneath the North Pacific. So those are things we probably will never know what happened in that landscape and what sort of unique phyla crossed that little land bridge both ways, actually, because there was interchange both ways, and with South America too there was interchange both ways. It just happens that the Larazothiers were much more successful in South America than the other way around. But the idea that an ape, it'd have to be a cursorial ape, and we don't have apes. I'm gonna say
it's not an ape. It's not an ape.
Well, yeah. Okay. So, do you monophyly means that you never outgrow your ancestry. So we're apes. So
we're primates.
Hominin is an ape. I'm using the term ape. I know it's colloquially used to represent all hominids, to the exception of Homo. But I don't like polyphyletics because they don't work scientifically. So I'm going to call us apes. So within that, under that net, you would agree that it would be an ape then, if we're apes.
Yes.
I would say they're one step behind us.
So is that a
So would primates work for this conversation?
Yes.
Yeah, primate.
Cool with you, Brian?
Well, yeah, primates definitely, but we're incorporating semiforms, but there are semiforms that are seen that are reported in North America, right? We have things like what they call them devil monkeys and things like that that are monkeys reported in North America.
Well, I can't. There's no way. I mean, we don't have the data.
Oh my God, those are scary.
We don't have the data to date their origin. We just don't have it. You have from the single continent all the way to the tectonic plate shift and the land bridge and just you have all that time span. We don't have the data point to say.
Ooh, and we have rainforest habitats because that's a common area for Bigfoot anyway. That's where they live in, like the Pacific Northwest is in rainforest. So there's that too. And rainforest
Patrick sees them in Louisiana, but that's probably marshy rainforest. That'd probably work, right?
Yeah, I mean, marshland, yeah, sure. But rainforests are really acidic and they don't preserve remains very well. So yeah, that checks out with me. That if they lived in rainforest, they wouldn't leave. We wouldn't find a lot of them. That's why we have such a sparse record of our own evolution prior to Well, I mean, it's getting filled out more and more, and I don't want to. Eric will kick my ass if I say something wrong here. So I'm not.
Well,
Gonna get,
I have a question,
Uh-huh.
if I may. I didn't champion this, but a trusted colleague did. Genetically, there are six. There's 6 sets of DNA from different a DNA of hominid in our DNA. You remember that, Pat? See, Chris Cryptid?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's actually 8 hominids within our DNA. 2 of them are known, 6 of them are unknown. Okay, what y'all have to say about that?
maybe I didn't quite understand. Could Orge, did you?
That was not a rock question, so I don't know if I can answer it.
Yeah, they would have to be shown that data in that way.
Okay,
I mean,
Right.
it's more complicated than just saying it, if that makes any sense.
I'm
Yeah.
I am interested in DNA stuff that regarding Sasquatch. The most compelling stuff I saw was Melba. What's her last name? Melba.
Ketchum.
Oh God, Ketchum.
Is that it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Her papers she put out. What do you think of those?
Total fucking bullshit, man.
You think it is?
Yeah, it's absolute bullshit.
What is
Well-
that all about then?
Inconclusive to me.
It's a narrative for a spiritual being. Yeah.
What does that have to do with DNA? I thought it was just. I thought it was just.
It's called angel DNA. They were literally Melbum's narrative was to try and prove that Sasquatch was a Nephilim.
Oh, that's awesome! Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I love that.
Yeah.
Where can I read more about that?
Just just Google it, dude. I
Oh
mean,
my
yeah,
gosh.
yeah. Like
Yeah,
her study was complete bullshit.
They
Been thoroughly debunked, even in the Bigfoot world.
made their own journal to publish that. Did you know that?
You know, well, she's self-published.
Yeah, because no one else would publish it, so they made their own. They created their own freaking journal. You can't just. So when it comes to peer-reviewed research, you can't just
I agree.
do self-publish. You have to make a journal and then self-publish. So,
Right? Yes. Yeah.
yeah,
So self-publishing is not fucking science.
right.
It's just opining. That's all it is.
There's so many people that drag serious speculation on this down with that kind of stuff. Was the moneymaker guy?
Matt Moneymaker.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Money taker, yeah.
You all remember the gorilla suit and the cooler, right? That was fun stuff.
Oh yeah, the Georgia hoax.
Yeah.
Well, the
Yeah.
pop culture of this phenomenon ruins it for real people who are really investigating this phenomenon.
Yeah, there's something here, guys. Like again, Brian Brain, Jorge. I'm a skeptic, and I dove my head into the Bigfoot world to see, well, what's going on with this? And I'm reporting back and saying, there's something going on. I can't explain it. For some reason, people are seeing 8-foot tall monkey men in the woods. I don't know why. We need to find out.
Well, there's an archetype behind that, in a European archetype. So yeah, it's the wild man, and they still see that in Europe from time to time. What's the big gray man in Scotland, things like that. Now in North America, you also have all these different Native American groups who have mythology and even like I want to say classification of beings of entities. Yeah,
I agree, dude, but folklore does not explain actual sightings. Folklore has nothing to do with people seeing what they fucking see in the real world.
Well,
If you stand in front of a train, it has nothing to do with folklore. Good luck. I'm telling you, there's
Bigfoot isn't a train. I mean, it's this like weird looking thing off in the woods. So you can't really say folklore doesn't play a part.
No, folklore does not. Show me the scientific study where folklore explains how people hallucinate in the modern world. I don't get that. That's not a thing.
Well, what about there's other. I don't mean to. Sorry to say what about that. Sounds like I'm giving a refutation. No, I don't mind that you're saying that about folklore because I agree. Folklore is folklore, and whether it's based, whether certain aspects are based in reality or not, is speculative. I'm with you. So as far as a scientific, what do we have? What do we have? Footprints, which are you compelled by footprints?
Yeah.
Go look at my
Especially
Facebook page.
when I have a world-class foot morphologist saying these set of footprints are real. So I'm compelled by them. Absolutely.
Okay. No, that was just asking about that. So then what about photos? Are there any photos that you find particularly compelling?
Not many, if any.
But Patterson Gimlin, I know Patrick finds that compelling. How about you, Pat?
I do. Yeah. I find it conclusive. Not compelling, conclusive. But again, that's subjective, right?
Are we talking about? So we're talking about gait.
Proportions, volume, size, 7'2", 500 pounds. Who the fuck fits that suit in 1967? Nobody.
How old was Andre the Giant in 1967?
He was 21 years old, and he was lean. He was extremely lean, and he had never set foot in the United States in 1967.
Andre the Giant was lean. I'm looking this up. I don't believe.
Yeah.
He was still in France working, wasn't he, back then?
No, he was big. Andre was big. Like, so in 1967, Andre was 21 years old, and he was big. He was a big dude. But he was much leaner than like what you're like everybody else's understanding of, like, say 1980 Andre the Giant. You know, he's 21.
Everybody thinks the Princess Bride when they think of Andre the Giant.
And right. Yeah. But it's also verified he had never set foot in the U.S. in 1967.
Well,
passport wise.
Do people make the argument that the Patterson Gimli video is Andre the Giant, or is that just like the giant from that time? Like, is that an actual argument people make?
No, they don't. It's kind of funny that he brought it up.
Oh yeah, I was just being facetious, but it's ironic that they've actually put that data together.
Your response was like so pre-programmed. Like, these are the sentences I say. Let me tell you about how girthy Andre the Giant was. You've done this before.
Have you been here before?
It's only because I've studied Andre. Because
the anatomy attributed to the Sasquatch.
Because I want a human reference, and Andre is that reference, man. He was 500 pounds at one, at the peak of his bigness, his volume. He's 500 pounds. His hand is like this.
Yeah, he's a huge dude. I'll be right back, guys. I'm on beer number 5, so I gotta.
Oh, I stopped at 4. You're drunker than me.
Well, if anybody would care to, you can go to Patrick Vaughn on Facebook, and those are tracks and pictures of the tracks that I personally took. They're not on the internet.
Patrick, what?
VAUGN.
Vaughn. Okay.
Yeah.
On Facebook, the files are public. It's some tracking pics. I know the signs. I personally took every picture of those. They're not hoaxed. They're not pulled off the internet. I can, every one of them.
I assume you're not the meteorologist, Patrick Vaughn?
No.
Does not look like you. That's not you. Okay, good.
No. It'll be me. Hold on. I'll show you this. This should be my picture. That
Okay,
right there. That should be me.
People. Oh, found you. Yeah, you're not the meteorologist. I see the pictures now.
No, but I hear meteorologists are like ladies' men. I mean, they like get all the chicks. I'm like, man, I wish I was a meteorologist.
All right, I've returned, and I had a question for Pat.
Yeah.
Hey, would you ever be interested in hanging out and talking about black cougar sightings in the U.S.?
Absolutely.
Because that's one cryptid. That's the cryptid I find as far as everything that's out there, the most compelling.
Well, they say they're not actually cougars. They're black jaguars that migrated from South America up to here and has a breeding population.
It definitely in the South and certainly in the Southwest.
Hey,
but Appalachia, and especially when the further back you go in Appalachia, I'm not so certain that we don't have a melanistic population of eastern cougars.
That's possible because we have black squirrels in Louisiana.
Yeah, we have black squirrels in up in northern Missouri too.
So, Brian, did you see Joe Rogan's one of his latest episodes? He captured a Black Panther on his video, like
surveillance, his security cameras.
Yes,
I did not see that. Someone told me about that the other day, and I meant to look it up, and I hadn't seen it yet. He lives in Southern California, right?
No, Texas.
Texas.
Yeah.
Southern Texas?
Yeah, he moved his show to Texas because he hates California, and I don't blame him. But that's a different topic.
Hey, Nikki sent you a picture of Andre the Giant lean.
Oh, yeah. No, I already have Andre pictures ready to go. But yeah, Joe, he captured a Black Panther on his surveillance system. And then the next day got a anecdotal story from his neighbor about that very same panther attacking him and his dog. It's so like.
To you, does it sound like a jaguar or a cougar?
I don't know. He said it was about. Like Joe said, it was about 60 pounds. So I don't know. That's
60 pounds.
Yeah,
that's really small for a jaguar.
For a jaguar, that's kind of small. So maybe we are talking about like a black mountain lion. You know, I don't know.
Hold on.
Or which, like, so in certain parts of the country they're called cougars. But here in the East, we call them mountain lions. They're the same exact species. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's Puma concolors. And the eastern cougar was declared extinct. So the only thing we have left are western cougars in North America. I'm saying South America. There's far more subspecies. But so we have the western cougar, which is what is indigenous to the Rocky Mountain and the surrounding highlands.
Yeah.
But they are, since the eastern cougar was wiped out, which was native mainly to the Appalachia and then the highlands there and kind of into the wetlands seasonally, which those were they were declared extinct in like 2010, but people still have sightings of. And that this is kind of where where I'm compelled to think that there was a genetic like a haplogroup within the eastern cougar population that was predisposed to melanism, which is black pigmentation in the eastern United States. And this is all speculative. I don't want to pretend like I'm giving like real figures here. It's all speculation on my part. And those were more successful in surviving the culling of the gene group, but now they're wiped out. Now we do get western cougars that come at least as far east as the Mississippi on occasion, especially wandering males that are young.
No, we have mountain lions in the east. That's bullshit.
Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
there's more surviving eastern cougars than they think. I think that there's
Oh no,
surviving
we have
populations.
video. We have tons of evidence.
East of the Mississippi.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I want videos.
Yeah.
So definitely, are you on like Twitter or anything where you could tag me in those?
I'm not. I am on Twitter, but you won't find me there. I'm in Facebook.
Facebook.
Yeah, like
Okay.
just search Squatch Talk group
Okay.
or
Yeah.
Pat Turner. You know,
I'm in a lot of Facebook groups on cryptozoology. I co-host a call-in show called The Perspective, where we talk about anybody can call in and make any kind of supernatural claim, and we'll talk about it. But and you're welcome to call in. Both of you gentlemen are as well. Or
Sure.
they can't call in. He's banned from calling the show after what happened last
It's true.
time.
I'm a jerk.
Yeah, you're on the list with Darth Dawkins now.
I don't blame you.
Oh my God, really, Darth? You guys were in there?
No, he has called us.
I've talked to him once, and I
Oh my
regret it.
God.
It was a train wreck.
Yeah, but you have to admit that the video that you did with where you talked to him got like the most views of any of your videos.
It's very depressing. The internet sucks. Yes.
My video
No.
where I talked to Darth Dawkins has the most views of any of my videos. It's so pathetic. Oh my
That's
gosh.
hilarious, man.
Patrick is like, who the Darth Dawkins? He's a terrible apologist, I guess we'll call him, but he's very rude.
Yeah.
Anyway, I know I'm derailing things. We were talking about animals. I like talking about animals. We were talking about
Mountain lions.
Mountain lions.
That are here in the East Coast. Absolutely 100%.
you've got videos and pictures. See, everybody I've talked to from the South, from like the deep South, from like Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, they all have hunting stories about seeing a black one. All of them do. It's peculiar.
That is peculiar. The black thing. So for them to be, pigmented in their hair that way.
Yeah. And,
it doesn't. I don't know how big jaguars are, but I mean, I could definitely, I can wrap my head around the 50-pound mountain lion. For sure.
60-pound mountain lion, especially like in a more tropical location, is not that bad. Not that it wouldn't be that out of the size spectrum, but for a jaguar to be that, because jaguars they're basically the size of a lioness.
So what are we talking, like 200 plus?
I'm going to interject here. I'm going to bounce out and go take a shower before I go to bed. So I might be back in later. I got the StreamYard account, but nice talking to you guys.
All right.
Brainbug, glad I let you in so you can, because you know what the hell you're talking about when it comes to this stuff. I blow it out my ass, but
I will harass these guys for you. But
there you go.
I don't have fun.
Keep them on their toes, those old weird people.
Thank you for coming in, Orge. It's been a blast.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll be back. Take care, guys.
Yeah. See you, man.
Yeah. Whoa, it's just
he's
you and us
a good
now.
guy right there. Always has been supportive of my channel. So yeah. Now, so 60 pounds. What do we? I looked up because a lot of people in Texas, the panther sightings in Texas are often jaguarundi, which, seen from a distance, look very peculiar. They got a long, thick tail. They're low to the ground, very arboreal built. They almost have a civet or mustelid like gait to them. So more weasel-like or mongoose-like in the way that they carry themselves, really low to the ground, especially when they're hunting. And again, they're arboreal because they like to be in forested habitats. So in Texas, the only area of Texas I've ever spent any time in was around the Dallas area, but we would every now and then we'd have there's jaguar sightings, and then eventually they'd catch a jaguarundi and turn it loose south of the border as they are wont to do in Texas. So 60 pounds is way too big for a Jaguarundi though. So where are we getting the weight from? Is this the weight just from observations?
It's hard to judge weight. The one I saw was
dog. Compare it to your dog.
the one I saw was probably 5 foot nose to butt cheek.
Okay,
You know,
without the tail.
Without the tail, butt cheek to nose is probably 5 foot.
You in
4.5,
Texas?
5 foot. That was Louisiana. That was in Benton, Louisiana. That was it's close to the Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana line, and
Like Texas. Texarkana area. Well, south of there, I guess it would be.
Yeah, but weight is hard to tell.
Right, and especially in that kind of environment. You're talking a lot of. Were you out in the swamps?
No, I was in Rolling Hills. It cut across a, and this is the first time that I found out they'll meow like a house cat. But I was hunting, and I hear this meow, and I thought, what is that? You know, and it come across this cutover, and it did it again. It was even closer, and then it cut through some woods, jumped a barbed wire fence, and landed in leaves. And I'm watching this thing at 15 yards. And I'm in a deer stand, and it hits the ground.
What's
and
the bobcat population in that area? I just want to speculate about the ecology. So, what's the bobcat ecology?
There are more bobcats than there are panthers, and in this area in particular, there's a lot of deer, a lot of turkey,
and there's
a few
the
hog.
bobcats you all have down there. They're a little bit smaller than what we have up here, right? They're about
they're 45 pounds,
12 to
45.
45. That's actually pretty large. The ones we get up here, in the upper Midwest, they range from about 18 to maybe 35 pounds. Like a house cat is 6 to 15 pounds. So there's a little bit of overlap, and they actually do interbreed a little bit, which is where in Florida they got they actually have a black strain in Florida. I wonder if Louisiana wouldn't have the same, being that the marshy, swampy areas, melanism does better in. If a strain that had that coloration wouldn't be more successful. That's an interesting thought. But I'm not accusing your creature of being a bobcat, because you said it had a tail, right?
Well, the one I saw had a long tail, a little bigger than a broom handle. Okay. And it just come through real quiet, real quick, just come through. And I found out years later what she was doing, meowing, was she was looking for a cub. Yeah. Because I actually found a kill, and I found the tracks of the mama, and then I found the cub tracks. And I was hunting my son. And I said, we got to get out of here. So we backed off. We got about 200 yards away. You could hear her coming meowing next to that kill. And
she was she was tawny then. She was the standard, like, yellow color. The
one I saw was like a deer color tan. Yeah. But the bobcat, it was that a friend of mine, Sheriff Patrol, killed it on his property. He weighed it 45 pounds. He has a picture of it holding him up.
Huge bobcat. Is that a state record?
I don't know if it was on the big side or small side. I mean, I haven't dealt with enough bobcats to tell you what their range is on size.
45 pounds is big.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah, it was the size of.
It's not. I don't think it's out of the range, but yeah, that's a pretty big cat.
It's the size of a mid-sized dog. I mean, he's holding it up like this.
Because the low side of a cougar, 60, like he was talking about, 60 pounds. That's about the low side of a cougar. How big they generally get. The Florida Panthers are on the small side. So the southern regions, I think that they would tend to be smaller. They're generally smaller towards the equator, and then get bigger as you move towards there's a rule of ecology or of biology called Bergman's rule, where the further from the equator you get, generally the bigger the species within the same species. The members of the species are. Like black bears are a good example where we can see that, or coyotes are another good example where we can see that in real time. cougars, they follow that pretty closely as well. When you get along the mountain range, you run into a different Allen's rule, which is about how high up they are. But that's a whole nother rabbit trail. But they tend to be bigger in mountain areas too. So there's the ridge from the Rockies that runs down into the Andes and all the way down South America, where cougars tend to be bigger overall. But the Appalachian area, they were always a little bit smaller, but there always seemed to be the old tales you hear, at least from like the pioneer days when people were first settling Appalachia. It always seemed like they made them out to be more aggressive. I don't know if that was a spook tale or if that was, actually something that was part of the phenotype that was inhabiting that area. But I don't know, you all remember like the Little House on the Prairie books?
Yeah.
I watched the show.
The show, yeah.
Oh, okay. So there's a book series, and the very first one is Little House in the Big Woods. It's about them living in Wisconsin, and one of the chapters there's a story about it's called Grandpa and the Black Panther, and it's about the grandpa being traveling out alone at night through the forest in Appalachia and being stalked by a Black Panther. It's and that's early American literature, and you have the Black Panther right there, not told as some mysterious creature from a far off land, but told us something that was common to the people's minds that they would recognize and know what it was. It wasn't spoken about as some obscure, strange creature.
I feel you.
So it's kind of weird that they're seen that way now, and I get it, because we don't have, like, genetically speaking, there's no evidence that we should expect to have a melanistic cougar. So then what the heck are we looking at? And we see this I use an archetype as in the loosest sense possible. We see this whenever we have mysterious felines crop up, they're always black. It's kind of a part of the phenomenon. In the UK, you have we call them ABCs, alien big cats, beast Bottomore, with that, or it was a Beast of Exmoor, maybe. I'm trying to remember all the names of it.
They got those on video, didn't they, over in the UK?
There's pictures and stuff, but there's been big cats caught in the UK too. There's been cougars that were actually trapped. There's been lynx that were trapped, and caracals and things like that. Australia also has big cat sightings, and they're almost consistently black or occasionally tawny. Black is more common than tawny. When I say tawny, I mean like the deer color, like a white-tailed deer. You're a hunter, right, Patrick?
Yes.
Okay, so when you're in your street stand, right? How many large carnivores would you think you see annually? Like, when I say large, I mean over 25 pounds.
One or two. I mean, you don't see them that much. I mean, they're pretty weary. They'll get shot at around here
too, huh? I mean, I imagine you are sitting in your tree stand at dusk and dawn. That's when the deer are active. I'm from the Midwest. I know how deer hunting works.
Well, I'm also a primitive living skills instructor, so I hunt I hunt all day. I spend weeks out sometimes.
Do you see more predators overnight?
There are more out at night than there are daytime. I have seen foxes in broad daylight. I've seen foxes right at dark, and I've seen panthers broad daylight and heard the scream at night. But mostly they stay away from you.
You see any black bear?
I saw the butt of one. I think I couldn't tell if it was such a distance. I couldn't tell if it was a pig or a black bear. Yeah. But it was just going away from me about 120 yards through some scattered pines and some knee-high grass. It just zipped away from me. Hey, so I'm not sure if it was a bear or a pig.
Real quick, while I got you guys here, this is a question I've always thought about since the following the wild boar expansion and how that's going. And now that Pat's back, I can ask it. Could a Sasquatch take an adult boar?
Oh, easily. Very easily. Yeah.
where I do research at, I had a very large boar skull that was wet and cleaned of meat, and the bottom jaw removed and the teeth removed, set in the area that I do my research at. It would be speculative for me to say that was her that did it, but it was done, in my research area, like the night after I did a research, and it was just a very strange event.
What do you got as far as like recording equipment that you can use out there when you're hunting?
I captured audio on another team I used to track for. We used Zoom audio. It had a mic that was stuck up, and it was built into a backpack with a shotgun mic and of course the dead rat. And a lot was caught on it, but I don't share a lot of that since I don't track for that team anymore. Myself, I used a Sony digital recorder and captured audio of one screaming out in front of me, and then went out and tracked where it was running through as it screamed. Because I don't go out and do research and then then leave and then go home and scratch my head wondering what I captured. I actually click my light on and go track and find the tracks and the 5 toes in the heel, left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot as it come through. So that's what I've captured on audio, personally myself.
And you capture some wood knockings too?
Yeah, I have wood knockings with another group. It's actually on another channel called Bigfoot Explorer. There's wood knocks, there's whoops, there's yells, there's screams on audio and video there.
I personally experienced wood knocks. I didn't capture them. It was the last thing on my mind. It was very bizarre experience.
Are you all expecting a social creature?
They are social.
They don't seem very social with us. They
They're
seem to
social
know
with
that we're extremely dangerous to them, is my theory.
Well,
You are wearing
social.
a chain necklace. That's kind of intimidating.
It's hot.
I'm a badass dude.
Well, he was in the entertainment industry. A musician or a band?
Yeah, in 3 years on a popular TV show. Yeah.
Yeah, Walking Dead.
Yep.
But I lost my train of thought.
Yeah.
Your hotness screwed my mind.
It's
up.
okay. We're talking about me now. Awesome. Welcome to Pat Talk, guys. We're just going to talk about me.
It actually does say Pat Squatch there. Pat Squatch Talk.
No, yeah, it's there's definitely a phenomenon happening.
You think there's different phenotypes?
God,
I don't know. We don't have.
Yeah, Patrick would know that. I don't know. I've never seen one. So
I mean, it's all good questions, but we have limited data.
Yeah.
We don't have all the data points.
Well, so when you get down into the southeast, you get like more shaggier, stinkier, smaller reports, and then as you move north, but more so west, you start getting more larger, more like Patterson Gimlin style sightings.
Here I've seen them 8 feet here, a big meal.
You've seen them.
I've seen them 8 times. I've tracked 24 of these individuals. I've seen them 8 times. I'm looking at them, they're looking at me, and 33 encounters. So
okay, so what kind? So your visual sightings? We're talking how many yards? You think?
Daytime 60 yards.
That's really close.
Yeah, the juvenile, he come across the ridge, come down the saddle ridge, and said whoop.
And I'm sorry if you already went over this stuff, and because I missed the beginning.
100 times.
I was doing my stream earlier and didn't catch the beginning. Weather conditions and
Um,
Just I'm
3:00 in the afternoon.
ooh.
Okay,
midday.
you got to understand. I come across a female. She chased me out of the woods. I didn't believe it. I went back and interacted, and she wound up having a little one. So I studied her and the little one for almost for years. Actually, I studied
Visual
her for
confirmation of both individuals,
yeah,
or is it
yes.
audible? I
I've seen.
understand there is audible confirmation. I get that. I want to see. I just confirm visual confirmation. Bipedal.
I've seen her. I've seen her. She was just kind of an orangish red color. First time I saw her, orangish red. She was my height, younger. And then that was 2003. And then I knocked with her in the dark a bunch of times. But then 2011 was the second encounter I had with her. And she walks into the firelight, and three of us were looking at her. And she has a little one. He's not so little now. I call him Sam.
2011. That's 10 years. 10 years of aging. He's
yeah. Well, from 2003 is when I first saw her.
okay. Yeah.
And she's still up there now, and she has a second young one. Okay. I was tracking last year a set of 7-inch tracks. So she has an older male, and now she has a younger, what I believe is a female, and that's what I believe I have the audio of doing the scream.
And what are they eating out there?
Hogs, dewberries, crawfish, freshwater clams, deer, just about anything they get their hands on. Mostly they do follow the hogs a lot. And you're talking about hog epidemic. There's entire bottoms in there that are churned like they've been disked. And I'm talking an area 100 yards wide, 2 miles long.
We need more watch out there if they're eating the hogs. That they need to get that under control. They're welcome to them. They're following the waterways though, huh? Like with the forest, because as agricultural areas move into the into the wildlife, we retain those forests along the waterways.
Well, we have water everywhere. It's Louisiana.
Yeah,
we got bayous, creeks, swamps, you name it.
Mm-hmm. It was a wetland where you're communicating with this individual and her offspring?
Yeah, I mean, it's wetland everywhere. A lot.
Yeah, it's Louisiana. Yeah, I get you. I haven't been to Louisiana, but I've been to both that part of Texas and that part of Arkansas. Just 30 miles from the border, so I get it. Yeah.
Sulphur River Bottoms.
Yep.
Sulphur River Bottoms is very much most Louisiana. I mean, we do have. Go ahead.
I'm a skeptic, but I'm not so much of a skeptic that I haven't been to Folk, Arkansas and stuff. I specifically when I'm on my way between where I live now and Dallas, made that special detour, to go there. So I did go through quite a stage of, and I still am really. I still talk about this stuff all the time. So even though I'm skeptical, I'm excited to hear your story. So don't feel like I'm going to dog on you or anything.
Well, I invite people to come in and try to take me apart. Ask me hard questions, challenge me, and I'll tell you all the data points I have. I have no problem doing that. Yeah. And I also make the Falk, Bigfoot. Was it Night Callers Bigfoot Radio does a Falk camp out, a couple times a year, and I go up there and I make that one, and it's usually fun.
Yeah, whatever the Falk creature was, I think it was only there for that little window of time, but I think it was something passing through. I think it, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was the same thing, or the same individual that was seen up in Missouri. 6 years later, Momo. Are you familiar with those sightings, Louisiana, Missouri? I grew up in that region.
It depends on the mileage, because what I find them to do, they have about a 13-mile radius, 25-mile diameter area that they have a home range in. That's their range they run and forage and hunt in, and then behind a barrier, a natural barrier that people don't go. There's a place where men just don't go. That's where they'll call, their little address. That's in elevation behind the barrier. They go there and they stay there, and they share the land with you. Okay, they're well versed in your strengths. They're well versed in your weaknesses. They can stay out away from you. They have greater eyesight, greater sense of smell, greater speed. They stay away from you, and they manage a barrier between you and themselves. Okay, and when you come into the area, they just back off and let you go do your thing, because the average man will get on a trail and he'll go in a few hundred yards and sit down, scratch his butt, drink some water, play on his phone, look for a squirrel shoot, and then he gets back a couple hours later, gets back on the same trail and leaves, and he never picks his eyes up, he never tracks, he never looks around. Even if he does, he's only going to see 100 or 200 yards, that's it. But what's watching you is further off, and they manage that barrier, and that's how they stay away from you.
Yeah, that's
They have to. Like there has to be that dichotomy.
yeah. That's the tautology of the situation we're in. Without any confirmed sightings, is that they have to stay away from us because they stay away from us.
I've tracked them doing it.
Yeah. And do these individuals they I see people posting videos and stuff with them building with structures they found in the woods. Do you believe that that's actually attributed to these creatures?
I believe 99.9% no.
Yeah.
I do. Now they do use. I have found them use, and I tracked them and where they made an X structure.
Follow-up question: do you believe those structures are built by teenagers?
I believe this X structure was built because I was tracking in the area, and they have a creek crossing, and I tracked in there a couple of times, and my son went in there with me, and we crossed the creek and went back in elevation. Well, we didn't go very far. Went back there just snooping around, come back down. With the next trip in there's an X. Okay, I take that X as don't come back here, because at that X, I got 3 knock, 6 knock, 3 knock, and a roar on camera, on audio, on expedition. Okay, now I took the knock out and I studied the knock for years, and the knocks are: 1 is I'm here, 2 is I'm here and so should you be, and 3 is a danger warning, get out of the area. I don't know what a 6 is. I have no idea what a 6 is, but I do have a rudimentary knowledge of 1, 2s, and 3s and how they use them in my geographic area. That's not a blanket statement across the United States.
Sorry, I have myself muted. So just in like Louisiana area, you're making that statement.
Louisiana, Texas, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Mississippi. Well, not Mississippi. Mississippi, they act like they don't know what a knock is in Mississippi.
They don't know. They don't know. We've determined that.
They're challenged over there.
Yeah. So do you all ever look at like old newsprint accounts of wild men and gorillas or whatever in the U.S.? What do you think of those?
I've looked at some of them, but the thing is, back then there were sensationalist writers that were trying to make a name for themselves, and so you can't really trust what is an actual accurate anecdotal recall and what's not made up to sell newspapers.
Yeah, Mark Twain always made fun of those guys. Made a satire about that, and those and the like giant skeletons and stuff like that. Yeah, Mark Twain was not a fan. He was skeptical of these newspaper reports, and I'm glad to hear that you guys are too, because you'll see that on a lot of the cryptozoology websites. You'll see things like that. Like, what was that Sasquatch battle in Louisiana, or not, in Oklahoma or whatever? Yeah.
Well, most of what I draw on is 18 years of tracking and observation and doing experiments and observing a core group as a scientific control, and then going in other areas using what I learned here and going to other areas and tracking them in other areas and doing experiments with them. Okay, and those experiences is what I draw from to talk about. And some people will say, well, that's speculation. And I guess part of it is it's my perception of what happened out there. But I was there.
I'm okay with that. I'm actually interested in your personal experience, and you have pictures too, I'm assuming.
You can go to Patrick Vaughn on Facebook, VAUGN, and I have tracking pictures there. I have handprints there. I have a hand grab there. The creek crossing I was talking about is there. The picture of the X that I found was there. And you can also go look at other platforms that I track for, such as Bigfoot Explorer. I'm on video tracking in that area, and Mississippi and Arkansas. We had a nighttime sighting. My tracking partner and I were looking at it, walking out in the field. It did a canine call, come walking in the field. Hey. We're looking at it, and the camera is shining from behind us and has its eye shine in the field as it's walking through the field.
Break down for me. Aw, puppers. Can you break down to me your typical outing when you're doing one of these investigations, like all the steps you go through when you're going out there?
With my core group, or with something I'm doing an experiment with?
Your typical when you're going out with a group.
All right. So, an investigation.
Sure.
I spend weeks studying topographical maps. What's growing there, water sources. I key in on the areas that I know men aren't going to go, because void of man is one of the criteria that I use. Also, it needs to have a barrier there, and also access from that particular site that they're calling their home site, which is going to be on a hilltop or in a saddle of a hill, a saddle of a hill behind a hill, and have access to a vast area where they could hunt and gather food. I find that area, and then I go and I scout that area out tracking. And probably I'll pick 4 areas out, and by the time I get to my second area, I'm finding tracks and I'm tracking, and I'm finding, and then I'll find an improved area that's within a mile, because a knock will travel for 1.1 miles. So I'll find an improved area, logging place, or a dim road or something where I can set up and do an investigation, a knock investigation, or do vocals, and try to, solicit a response that way. Experiment wise, an area that I already know they're in, as I've already tracked a few times, like I just did a few weeks ago, I went in and I set up a fake coyote den with the camera in the back of the den facing outward with coyote urine, and I descented the area, descented myself, and I killed my way out of the experiment. Well, my trigger got cambered at 2 a.m. and there's something right here in my camera, and then about 40 feet at the very, very limit of my R on my camera are 2 eyes. I can't tell you what it is. I can say I was very disappointed that I didn't have a video of something, but the trigger on this camera is 1 second, and when the hour kicked on, whatever was there dodged. And right now I'm looking at lightning recording triggers that trigger on motion and light, and it triggers within 40 milliseconds. So that should help a camera situation.
And what's the time frame on that? Is this a weekend investigation, overnight investigation?
I took a week off 3 weeks ago, and I spent 3 days in Arkansas on private land. 1,500 acre private deer lease is what it was.
I gotcha. Okay.
And those are in the pictures from that outing is in my Other Signs album on Facebook under Patrick Vaughn. I actually have something in there, and I'm not saying what it is, but I got something like this. Actually, it's half a bridge nose, half. I got something like this that I don't know what it is. I'm not calling it what it is. I tell people to go look at it and see what you think it is, but it's the same camera.
So, yeah, that's
it's a lot to absorb.
right. It sounds like you're doing, your due diligence as and it sounds like your
And
area too.
I sent that metadata to our electronics engineer for him to confirm the metadata, make sure that is what the camera saw.
But
Yes.
yeah, I would love to see that that image. It would be so. I'll go out to your site and have a look for myself. I do find that interesting. I do find these topics interesting. I don't know that anything here has compelled me tonight, but you've definitely piqued my interest, and I just love talking about this stuff.
Well, that's compelling.
I dropped my email in your side chat there, and I need to pop out of here before I have one beer too many and start being all silly. But I dropped my email down there, Pat. So I would love to get together with you and talk to you about these black cougar sightings in the eastern United States. I do love that topic.
Yeah,
Patrick, I will check out your images and your the stuff you've shared out on social media on Facebook and see what I think about it. Appreciate you letting me come on and just hang out with you guys and ask some questions.
absolutely.
Oh, it's always a blast.
Yeah,
You're welcome. Welcome here.
yeah, Brian. Thanks for coming on. Like I know how things go in the skeptic community. People often jumping in and out of shows.
Yeah.
I have a hard time drawing them here.
Right. I love this
right.
topic. It's because I think there's a stigma around this kind of stuff, but I think it's fun. I think it's, even if you don't, I'm not. I used to be for a long time a believer in this in these things, and I still want to. I still want to find that piece of evidence that puts it all together. I'm just not there anymore.
We'll get it.
But
we'll get it.
I look forward to it all the time. I check my feeds to looking for that. I have I follow all the crypto Facebook groups I'm a member of, and follow stuff on Twitter and YouTube and Reddit, and I'm connected into all that to try to find something compelling, because I do want it, but
it's coming. I promise you.
It took us years, us individually as a group. It took us years to find discerning minds that are real and really are putting thought and critical thinking, open-mindedness, but still discerning out this phenomenon. Okay, and it's a very, like Pat said, it's a very small slice of cross section that you find that in. We're not the entertainment side. If you find facts entertaining, if you find real research entertaining, if you find compelling thought processes entertaining, then this is for you.
Yeah.
I like looking at photos, videos, and listening to audio. So because I am well versed in the ecology of North America. So if you have sounds that people and mostly it's bugs, because as you can see, I have a bug channel and I talk about bugs and talk about science. So that's a lot about it's mostly insect sounds and insect pictures, but people send me all kinds of creatures and send me sounds of all kinds of animals to decipher for them. So if you have questions about it, I can give things a once over for you as well. I'm always happy to do so and look at your images and give an assessment, a neutral assessment, because you got, like, as I've said, I would love for this to be for something to be found. So bring it to me and I'll look at it.
We're trying, brother.
All right.
We're trying.
Well, you all have a good night. I'm gonna bounce.
All right, man.
All right, thank you.
Have a good night, man.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah. Great discussion.
Yeah. Wow. This turned out way differently than I thought it would. But yeah, good discussion.
Yeah, I just thought it'd be me here sitting here boring you to death.
And
wake
with
up.
that, we'll wrap up the night. No, yeah, dude, it was that was fun.
Mhm.
It was the kind of, it wasn't a debate. It was never a debate. It was just good discourse between fair questions and someone that can answer those questions as fairly as he can.
Yeah.
And I'll say this in your defense, from my side of the fence, in my observations, is that people just don't understand, man. Like, even if they're interested, they don't understand. They there's a disconnect, man.
Well, that's that psychology where I was discussing that man has of it's not just presented evidence. If it was just presented evidence, you could go to my Facebook, my albums, and go, man, that's got to be something real. It is the perception of evidence, and we disconnect because we cannot wrap our mind around it. There's no way that's possible, and I understand it 100%.
Yeah, but what just happened tonight was a bridge of disconnect. So these weren't disconnected people. These were engaged. They were engaged people. Even if at the end of the day they go, I don't think this is a real thing.
Yeah.
But you pique my interest. That's huge to me. That's
I hope Orgay puts his mind to work with questions and comes up with a great experiment.
He will. I mean,
I believe he will.
He's a smart guy. He's an analytic guy. He's a thinker. Mm-hmm. He's a scientist. So I have all the faith in the world, that he could have even more questions or better questions,
Yeah, that's my goal, is to get people, come up with ideas so we can try new experiments and get the ball downfield. Getting the ball downfield isn't going to be done by just running through the woods trying to chase one down. You can't, okay, unless it turns around on you. Let's try to get unmanned experiments, whether it's drone or otherwise. I know. So I'm excited. It was an exciting night for me.
Yeah.
Well,
Once I get them, I'll be showing them to Brian and Jorge and Erica and Meldrum in private.
You know what they're gonna do? You're full of it. That ain't real. That's hoaxed.
Well, I mean, I don't think so. I think that anything that I would present to anybody like that, like, I would have already vetted it as good to go for that presentation. I'm not the guy that goes, oh shit, I caught some movement in between some branches. Therefore, I mean, then I'll, just run to the first YouTube channel.
It's right there. Can't you see the head?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a red marker.
Where's my circle? Yeah. That's not me, dude. I would never go to any of those people. Yeah,
I'm picking on you.
I know you're picking on me, and I'm worth picking on.
Yeah, so, you got the badass chain and everything, man.
Yeah, man. Hey, I did 3 seasons in The Walking Dead, bro.
Yeah.
Don't mess with me. I'm a high level entertainer.
Yeah,
in this world.
Oh, and there's the entertainer's boss. Just say yes, man.
She's like, I never saw you on one of those episodes. Well, I was there. Whatever. Yeah, dude, good discussion night. Wow, we went from UFOs into like kind of general Squatch talk into skeptical people came on, which you guys are always welcome, by the way. if you didn't notice, you're welcome here. This is not an adversarial place. And man, we have a bigger panel than this, man. Oh, Leon, I don't know, man. Boy, Leon gets mixed in. Whew, it's gonna get real interesting.
Oh,
but yeah, we did a good little circle tonight, man, between all that. So, let's wrap it up, bro.
All right.
Final
Thanks,
thought?
chat. I'm excited. I can't wait to see what someone comes up with as experiments. And this guy has a master's degree, and it may not be in the subject, but he's still smart. So, and probably smarter than me. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what comes out of that. And
well, I like where this is going. This is where I've wanted to steer things lately, and I'm glad tonight happened. So with that, I will wrap it up. Thanks, guys, for watching. Thanks, everybody in chat. Like and subscribe. Blah, blah, blah. You can also check out the shows on anchor.fm. Audio versions. If you're at work, you can't listen. YouTube's kind of weird at work, so whatever. But yeah, thanks guys for tuning in. I paid attention to everybody in chat tonight. Sorry I couldn't bring up every statement or question. We'll save that for open mic night. So thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you later.